Chapter 411, 20th Cycle's First Day. TSTSTSTSTSTSTSTSTSs. Just like before, I open my eyes in the middle of another regression. Once again, I am moving against the river of time formed by the Taiji. Up above, I can see the black sky, and just like before, there appears to be 10 seats Zuo emerging. In the past, merely glimpsing those seats would have driven me insane. However, this time, perhaps because I fully embraced the meaning of the phenomena extinguishing mantra's formula deep in my heart, I keep silently reciting the mantra, and though the sight of the seats still shocks my mind, it doesn't drive me mad. As I gaze at the 10 seats, I suddenly flinch in shock. Wait, that is, chills, my very soul trembles like mad. The reason is that most of those seats above are focused on me. The seat with a determination as immovable as a great mountain is glaring ferociously at me. The seat with a hazy feeling as if in a confusing, dizzying dream is looking upon me with curiosity. The seat that's somehow familiar shows no discernible emotion but is looking down at me. The seat that seems imprisoned somewhere feels to be looking at me with excitement. The seat that bears an unending and boundless hunger conveys nothing but a sense of starvation, making it impossible to discern anything further. And among the seats at the center, the seat that gives a hollow feeling of emptiness seems to pay me no mind, instead focusing on the seat beside them. The same is true for the seat that feels like the owner of the soul-bearing flower. It's most definitely the seat I saw during my 19th regression, the one that seems to be watching me. But unlike before, that seat is no longer emitting light. As if it suddenly died, the light has grown so faint that it seems like it will extinguish entirely at any moment. The two seats in the center seem to be concerned about this dimming seat. And I know who that fading seat is. The Heavenly Venerable of Time. Surely, it's him. He mentioned giving me a gift, and through some tremendous cost he sacrificed something of his own. Is that why he called it a gamble? His tone suggested that in order to break free from something, one requires a sacrifice. It's clear that the price the Heavenly Venerable of Time paid is far from trivial. As proof, during my 19th regression, it felt as though only the Heavenly Venerable of Time and the oldest of all could perceive me. But in this 20th regression, it seems as though the Heavenly Venerable of Time can no longer even detect me. No, it feels as if his consciousness has vanished entirely. Single quote. I look up at him, expressing my deep gratitude towards the Heavenly Venerable of Time. Then, I notice the last seat in the sky. The seat of the oldest of all, is calmly gazing down at me. Tingle, I feel chills. For some reason, I find the oldest of all far more terrifying than the seat with a determination as immovable as a great mountain, presumed to be the owner of Great Mountain. The reason everyone is looking down at me this time must be because this is a regression influenced by the Heavenly Venerable of Time. I can sense it. Because the Heavenly Venerable of Time intervened, the other governing immortals became aware and are watching me. It's possible that the regression this time isn't due to my ability, but instead the Heavenly Venerable of Time directly sending me back. However, it seems that when the Heavenly Venerable personally uses his power, the other governing immortals notice, and I can feel that 8 out of the 10 are watching me. Among the 10 seats, the seat of time has lost its light and can't see me, and the remaining seat seems to be simply uninterested. Because the Heavenly Venerable of Time exerted his power, all of them, including the oldest of all, are fully aware of and observing me. But this time, I feel it clearer than ever. The oldest of all has always been capable of perceiving my regressions. I can tell. Their gaze is so calm that I immediately notice. In the previous life, I thought it was thanks to the clear scale armor that they were able to track me, but that wasn't the case. The clear scale armor was just a pretext. Now knowing that the oldest of all can immediately, at any time, pursue me through history, I am filled with overwhelming dread. Perhaps, it might just be that they aren't chasing me right now because the other governing immortals are directing their attention towards me due to the Heavenly Venerable of Time's involvement. But if that's the case, doesn't that mean in the next regression, when the other governing immortals are not watching, they might pursue me? The thought suddenly strikes me with terror. TSTSTSTSTSTSTSTSTSTS. I can feel the regression process nearing its end. Just ahead is my regression point. However, I suddenly notice something strange in the sky. Thinking back, I vaguely perceived it during the 19th regression as well. That's, in the center, there are rings surrounding 4 of the seats. And among the 6 seats on the periphery, all but 1 have rings. But I notice something strange and open my eyes wide. The ring on the periphery. At first, I thought it was a seat with a ring. But no, it's just a ring. There is nothing but a ring. In reality, there are only 5 starlights on the periphery. Among the 6 seats on the periphery that I assumed were there, one is actually something without a central star, just a ring. It was simply too distant, so I mistook its shape. In reality, there are only 9 seats in that sky. 9 seats, 5 rings. That is the true nature of the 10 lights beneath that sky. Pot. As I recognize this strange truth, my regression ends. Thud, along with a sensation as if something forcefully caught on somewhere during the process. Pot. This place is. An enormous turbulence of power surges around me. And as I withstand the turbulence, I find myself holding hands with several others. Ah, I see, I understand, I know exactly when this is. Right after the Wuji religious order was annihilated. The moment when I am holding hands with my remaining 23 comrades. This must be the Heavenly Venerable of Time's gift. I understand the gift from the Heavenly Venerable of Time. Revealing my fate in exchange for this time was Young Sung's proposal. I clearly rejected Young Sung's proposal and declined what it wanted to use as a bargaining chip. But I know deep down, it's because I respect this time so much that I don't want to use it as a bargaining chip. This moment itself is something I deeply, deeply long for. Yes, I have been yearning for my comrades of this time. Squeeze. I hold the hands of Hong Fan and Jaeon Myung-hoon on either of me, feeling their warmth. Beyond their warmth, I can feel Buk Hyung-hwa, Kim Yeon, Yeon Jin, Kim Young-hoon, Oh Yun-sok, Wei Shi-hun, Eum-hwa, Baek Rin, the remaining Guardian Ghost Kings, Yuk Yo, Seo Ran, Shi-ho, and others. As I feel the warmth of those who remain, tears well up in my eyes. Thank you. After quickly expressing my gratitude to the Heavenly Venerable of Time, I swiftly enter the time of extreme speed and rapidly expand the domain within my body. Wo Wang. Due to my domain already being synchronized with my soul Hun through the refining void Dharma treasure, it returned with me from 190,000 years in the future. However, maybe there was a problem as my grand perfection integration stage cultivation is now only at the early integration stage. But there's no problem in unfolding my domain. I pull Hong Fan and Jaeon Myung-hoon into my domain and quickly bring my comrades into my body. Kwajik. The 7th Guardian Ghost King, the first fail to retrieve in time, is being crushed. Badoo-doo-doo-dook. Gritting my teeth, I look up at the sky. There, Great Mountain is still standing as always. And then, flash, the sky. From the sky, Reverend Evenmore revered 8 noble beings descend. Ku. I immediately lower my head. Pot, pot. Brilliant light wraps around the mountain of darkness. As expected, even the governing immortals have detected the regression. It seems the supreme deity of light has also recognized this reversal of time and came down to capture the owner of Great Mountain. Cold sweat trickles down as I keep my head down. Surprisingly, the owner of Great Mountain doesn't resist much. They just calmly look down at me from above. Beware of the light. Many beings have warned me of this fact. Perhaps it's the light, even more so than Great Mountain, that I need to be cautious of. I keep my head lowered, waiting for Great Mountain to be completely captured by the light. That's when it happens. Geeing. Quote. Exclamation mark quote. I suddenly realize that I have entered my heart essence world at some point. This is a clear Dao Mountain Sword Way. That is my heart essence. And I suddenly become aware that there is someone behind me. Someone has invaded my heart essence and even forcibly dragged my consciousness into it. However, I dare not recklessly look behind. It feels as though my neck is being strangled. No, it's more accurate to say it feels like a knife is in my mouth, or a gun is pressed against my temple. I have a strong premonition that if I make any reckless move, I will be disassembled along with my soul and die. I hear the voice of someone. A strange, distorted voice, impossible to tell if it's a male or female, human or not. You are not worthy of having that. A voice with a subtle hint of anger. I will leave for today. I hear the sound of whispering in my ears. Come up, let's see who's more worthy above. Then, their presence disappears. I hurriedly turn around, but there is no one in my heart essence world. No one except me. I break out in a cold sweat. I have a sense of who it is. It's the owner of Great Mountain. They had brazenly entered my heart essence world. Even Seo Wei-ol couldn't enter it recklessly, yet the mountain god instantly entered my heart essence, trapped even me, the owner of the heart essence, within it, and disappeared after leaving a message. It's a chilling display of authority. But instead of trembling before their power, I grind my teeth. Because I know what they have done. Wo Wang. I exit my heart essence world, shedding tears of blood. In the integrated Tao domain I unfolded, a hole has been pierced. Su. Before my eyes, the great mountain of darkness seems to gradually turn transparent before vanishing somewhere along with ropes of light. But I can no longer hold back and shout out. Great mountain! Among my remaining 23 comrades, one was captured and killed by the god of the mountain because I couldn't put them into the integrated Tao domain in time. However, even among the comrades I quickly brought into the domain, aside from Wei Shihun, Hua, and Baek Rin, all other 9 guardian ghost kings were crushed to death. Even until the very last moment, they killed my comrades before leaving. SSSS's. The projection of Great Mountain disappears along with the 8 lights, but I can feel their gaze still stuck on me. It seems they have done something when they entered my heart essence. Grinding my teeth, I hold my remaining comrades even more dearly. Just a few seconds ago, I wondered what would have happened if the Heavenly Venerable of Time returned me to before the Wuji religious order was annihilated. But upon reflection, I realize it wouldn't have made any difference. The mountain god would have relentlessly destroyed everything of mine, even while being captured by the light. Goo. To make matters worse, the attraction force of misfortune that has been following me since the ancient force realm has grown even stronger. It must be something added by the mountain god. Grinding my teeth and shedding tears of blood, I make a vow. Just as Jaeon Myung-hoon swore revenge against the god of heavenly punishment, I swear revenge against the mountain god. The world has not yet perished, but my emotions are boiling even more fiercely. As I am drawn towards the attraction force of misfortune, on the first day of my return, I burn with a desire for vengeance against the owner of Great Mountain. Chapter 412. Soar. Goo. The attraction force grows stronger. It's the attraction force of misfortune. The power of misfortune, touched by the mountain god, slowly pulls us down as if trying to drag us into a quagmire. Goo. After just escaping the ancient force realm and entering the interdimensional void, I can feel terrifying vestiges gathering ahead of us. This is insane. The entire interdimensional void is filled with vestiges at the 4-axis stage. Not a single heavenly being vestige is in sight. Even vestiges at the integration stage are swarming by the thousands. But that isn't the real problem. Cooing, far in the distance, sensing the presence of 3 beings from afar, I begin to sweat coldly. Truly overwhelming auras. While the powers held by the mountain god, the god of light, the heavenly venerable of time, or Youngsung are terrifying because of their sheer magnitude that I can't even comprehend. The presences emerging from afar are even more overwhelming precisely because their magnitude is comprehensible. I can never defeat those beings. Cooing, the presence of 3 entities. They are, in fact, 3 vestiges at the esteemed one level. Cooing, though they haven't even revealed themselves, their mere presence is terrifying. The vestiges in the interdimensional void are the corpses or husks of true persons. Their vulnerability to heavenly tribulation is precisely because of this. They are symbols of defying the heavens, but at the same time, they are entire worlds in themselves. When the entities meant to receive heavenly tribulation and those meant to inflict it become one and the same, heavenly tribulation that enters the bodies of the vestiges will amplify uncontrollably, ultimately causing them to explode and perish. But I can sense it. When thinking of how the esteemed ones who emerged after the creation of the heavenly domain are responsible for generating heaven and earth's spiritual energy and spitting out cosmic nebulae, it's likely that even if heavenly tribulation is to amplify within the bodies of the esteemed one-level vestiges, they will be able to withstand it for a long time by continually producing heaven and earth's spiritual energy and nebulae. They could just spit out heaven and earth's spiritual energy or nebulae as much as they are damaged by the heavenly tribulation. Damn it. At this rate, isn't it still the same situation even when we manage to expel the mountain god? While I'm confident that I can break through and escape the thousands of integration level vestiges, I know I can't handle those. Not against them. As I stand with a stunned expression, feeling the presence of the esteemed one-level vestiges. Kwajik. A hole is torn open in my integrated Tao domain, and from inside, a giant body of lightning and thunder bursts forth. Jaeon Myung-hoon emerges from within. Jaeon Myung-hoon. His eyes are gloomy, not as much as mine, but his face clearly shows considerable pain. But despite groaning in agony, he opens his mouth. I've come this far always believing in you. Quote. Ever since that day, no matter how many times. No matter what you said. No matter how suspicious it seemed. Quote. I still trust you. Red light flows from his eyes. So, this time too, let us Quote. The red light becomes red lightning, pulsing under Jaeon Myung-hoon's face as if dripping down. It looks as if crimson tears of lightning are streaming down. No matter how many times we've failed, haven't you always led us in the end? He stands before me. As his integrated Tao domain unfolds, Kim Young-hoon, Oh Yun-sok, Kim Yeon, Buk Hyung-hwa, all those who can fight immediately, emerge. Find the answer, right now. With those words, my comrades turn their backs to me and begin to protect me. As if to buy me time to think. Watching them, I clench my fists. He's right, I have to come up with an answer. Whether it's returning to the ancient force realm, descending to the lower realms, or doing whatever it takes, I have to find the answer. Saying there's no answer is just an excuse. I have to do whatever it takes. Wu Wang. And as I rack my brain with a desperate will, something begins to enter the views of my eyes. That, it's a star vein. Currently, there are a total of 3 threads of star veins in the interdimensional void around us. They are star veins emanating from the star-shattering level vestiges. The esteemed 1 level vestiges are connected by these star veins. But isn't that strange? 3 beings at the star-shattering stage. Yet, there are also 3 threads connecting them. It's not like the star veins of the 3 star-shattering creatures are forming a triangle. Like constellations, the star veins of the vestiges are connected to somewhere. First vestige to second vestige to third vestige. In that manner. And the third vestige is connected by a star vein to, somewhere. For a star vein to be connected means that there is a star at the other end. Seeing that the esteemed ones are connected by star veins, it seems that the esteemed ones are treated as stars. In other words, there might be one more star-shattering vestige here, or perhaps even a vestige of a higher level. However, after scrutinizing the end of that star vein for a while, I realize the identity of the final star vein connected to the esteemed ones. Ah, I see. Crunch. I let out a hollow laugh. It's such an obvious thing when I think about it. I should have realized it from the moment I was bestowed misfortune. I want to sit down right here and now, and cry out of sheer frustration and disbelief. But I can't afford to do that. I need to calm my mind and body, and though I should spend a long time preparing before taking on this challenge, there's no time. I have to go up now right now and cut it down. Failure means annihilation. I speak to my comrades. Immediately, right now, we're going to the esteemed 1 level vestige down below. What? Jaeon Myung-hoon looks at me as if I lost my mind. But after meeting my gaze, he seems to ponder for a moment before nodding his head. Understood. But that can't possibly be the end of it. Right, I'll explain the detailed plan. I quickly send a hard message to my comrades, explaining my plan. After moving to the very lowest esteemed 1, following my lead, we'll use the star veins, you can think of them as attraction force. We'll use the attraction force between the esteemed ones to gradually move upward to the next esteemed 1 right above. Then, from the very last esteemed 1, we'll have to leap even higher beyond. There's no time to fully explain the exact details of the plan, nor do they yet understand our ultimate objective. But my comrades nod in agreement, their eyes shining with determination. Escaping between the esteemed ones, it might be possible, even if just for a moment. But the problem is that we likely only have enough power to do it once. Don't worry about that. Jaeon Myung-hoon's eyes glint as he extends 6 arms toward Kim Young-hoon. In an instant, Kim Young-hoon is surrounded by 6 massive hands, but as Jaeon Myung-hoon's red lightning flows into him, something begins to change. Kwagg. The red lightning heavenly tribulation transforms into golden divine heavenly lightning. I don't know the reason, but my red lightning heavenly tribulation method reacts and changes when I use it on you. I confirmed this back in the head realm as well. Indeed, this golden lightning is perfectly suited for my use. Kim Young-soon seems amazed as he feels the golden lightning for a moment, then begins to compress it within his saber. If the two of us combine our strengths, moving between the esteemed ones won't be an issue. But the problem is reaching them. We can't afford to waste any power until then. In response to Jaeon Myung-hoon's words, Buk Hyung-hwa shouts and sends a voice transmission inside my domain. A moment later, Kugugugugu, Seo Ran, who had been hiding inside my integrated Tao domain, emerges with the nether crossing ship. There's so much I want to ask, but this is urgent, so I'll follow for now. Seo Ran speaks hurriedly, quickly transferring command of the nether crossing ship to Buk Hyung-hwa. Buk Hyung-hwa speaks to Oh Yun-sok and Kim Yeon. I'll need the 2 of you to assist me. Soul extinguishing Ghost King, please replenish power in the Nether Crossing ship's power space with Sir Co Ran's help. When I make the Nether Crossing ship go berserk, mysterious bizarre Ghost King will need to control it. With the Nether Crossing ship's strength we will surely make it to the front of the Esteemed One. We quickly exchange opinions and set off. Goo. Oh Yun Sok becomes the power source for the Nether Crossing ship, activating it, while Co Ran, using the owner's authority, unlocks the ship's functions. Through this authority, Buk Hyunghwa pushes the Nether Crossing ship into a berserk state, while Shiho protects Co Ran and Buk Hyunghwa on the deck. Meanwhile, Kim Yeon's consciousness threads seep into every part of the Nether Crossing ship. The Nether Crossing ship, which has risen to the 4-axis stage through going berserk, begins to rise even further in level as it comes under Kim Yeon's control. Originally, the Nether Crossing ship isn't exactly a combat Dharma treasure. Back during the Black Ghost Valley era, I heard from a Ghost King that the true purpose of the Nether Crossing ship is the collection and storage of souls, and their transmission to the Netherworld. The Nether Crossing ship can use its transmission function to temporarily shift the ship itself to the outskirts of the interdimensional void or the Netherworld, and then perform spatial movement. Goo. As ghostly energy seems to engulf the surroundings of the Nether Crossing ship, we instantly enter a very shallow area of the outskirts of the Netherworld. A place close to reality. Is it because it's such a shallow area? The surroundings only became slightly hazy, with the vestiges remaining around as they were. But I know all too well. Why are ghosts such terrifying beings? Because they are unfair existences whose attacks can reach you, but your attacks pass right through them. Hu Wang. The 4-axis vestiges launch attacks at us, but in our semi-transparent state, we evade all of them. Kim Young-hoon, Jaeon Myung-hoon, and I conserve our strength for the right moment, while Kim Yeon pilots the Nether Crossing ship quickly towards the Esteemed Ones. Goo. Grand Cultivator level vestiges come flying at us. Each and every single of their strikes carry the power of a dimension, so even in the outskirts of the Netherworld, they have a certain mass as they fly toward us. And then, Kim Yeon moves her hand. Flash, the main cannon of the Nether Crossing ship fires. The main cannon of the Nether Crossing ship, amplified significantly by the ghostly energy of the couple Wei Shihun and Yeonghwa, fly forth, piercing through the vestiges. Our attacks land with amplified force, while theirs barely affect us. Wo Wang, we're going. Kim Yeon aggressively steers the Nether Crossing ship, rapidly charging toward the Esteemed One level vestige. Wo Wang. In the distance, the Esteemed One level vestige can be seen. I know instinctively, regardless of whether we are in the outskirts of the Netherworld, it would be of no use against an Esteemed One level vestige. But that doesn't matter. We have already arrived. I expand my domain, pulling Kim Young-hoon and Jaeon Myung-hoon, and put the entire Nether Crossing ship within my domain. I then join forces with them. Red Lightning Heavenly Tribulation, Quasi-Jijijik. Red Lightning cycles and touches Kim Young-hoon, transforming into Golden Lightning, with the words Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder appearing on his back. It's a situation similar to what happened in the Head Realm. The Esteemed One raises a gigantic arm in front of us. Go, I shout, and Kim Young-hoon raises his saber. The next moment, we see a golden bird formed from thunder and lightning. The golden bird carries me and instantly dodges the Esteemed One's hand. I open my star vein eye and guide the golden bird towards the path of the Esteemed One's star vein. Jijijik. Through the star vein, the golden bird flies towards the next Esteemed One. A vestige resembling a snake opens its mouth wide. The golden bird forms a trail of thunder and lightning, evading the snake-like vestige in the void. Once again, under my guidance, it flies towards the final Esteemed One. Wu Wang. I heighten the perception of the star vein eye even further. The star vein is peculiar. The more I traverse the star vein, the closer I get to its essence, the more my consciousness ascends to a certain world. I have a rough idea of what it is. Just as cultivating the ghost path method gradually draws one's consciousness closer to the outskirts of the Netherworld. The more I perceive the star vein and traverse its path, the closer my consciousness comes to the domain of the Heavenly Venerable of Time. Next, I draw forth the power of my domain and shout in mental speech. Finally, Kim Young-hoon and Jaeon Myung-hoon escape the grasp of the last Esteemed One and follow the star vein connected to an unknown place. As the star vein and my consciousness assimilate, my consciousness and vision elevate to a world of a higher plane. I can see it, far in the distance, a star connected to the Esteemed Ones. Goo. That star is emitting an attraction force. The identity of that attraction is Misfortune Yun. TSTSTSTSTSs. It's that. That is the identity of the misfortune that slowly started to manifest in the ancient force realm and tormented me. The unknown misfortune that is constantly chasing after me. Now that I think about it, when the Wuji religious order entered the ancient force realm, there was an enormous shockwave that spread and vibrated throughout the entire world. It's a ridiculous occurrence. The combined mass of the Wuji religious order, the Twilight Domain, Jaeon Myung-hoon, and I amounted to at most 5 or 6 integration stage cultivators, so how could the entire middle realm shake just because of that? It makes no sense at all. The shockwave that swept across the entire ancient force realm wasn't caused by us. It was caused by that star that followed us into the ancient force realm. The reason I saw attraction force in the ancient force realm, which has no sky, is obvious. A star entered the ancient force realm. Those in the lower boundary use curse dolls when casting a curse. Beings in the greater boundary use stars when bestowing misfortune. In that case, who gifted me that star? Who granted me that misfortune? It's clear at first sight. The malice of 50-some beings emanating from the star. It's the malice of the quasi-immortals from the nether ghost realm who had peaked on the phenomena extinguishing mantra. On top of that, the malice of the owner of Great Mountain is added to it, creating a powerful mass of misfortune which has been bringing misfortune upon me from a higher plane. Suring, Kim Young-hoon and Jaeon Myung-hoon became my foundation. They don't seem to understand what I am trying to do since they lack the star vein eye, but I can tell they trust me. That is enough. I compose my will. Then, squeezing out every last bit of my lifelong will and energy, I prepare the martial technique that partly severed the authority of Young Sung. Severing mountain swordsmanship. The 31st move. Accumulating dust forms a mountain. Starting with a horizontal slash, a vertical cut, and a thrust, all the techniques of my heaven, earth, heart, and puppet converge into one. The canvas of myriad forms and connections, which contains my history, shines purely as a hazy mist settles on my sword. But I can tell, this won't be enough. I don't unleash accumulating dust forms a mountain. Instead, I hold it in my hand, focusing my soul. Keying, more, pot, more, I compress it. I compress the all-heaven sword, formed by compressing the formless sword, crazily compressing it with the weight of my entire history. The all-heaven sword begins to thin. What lies before me is a star, but at the same time, it's a concept. To cut through a concept, what I wield must also transform into a concept. Keying, the all-heaven sword gradually begins to thin. I recall a memory from long ago. It's from when I was very young. The time I fought against a third star chi refining cultivator in the royal palace and gained enlightenment on sword silk. Sword energy is assimilated into will yi. In doing so, energy is compressed like a thread in the same way intent is. I compress the all-heaven sword in my hand with my will yi. The pressure required is on a completely different level from compressing sword energy. Like the thread of intent, I transform and manifest my sword. Swordsmanship consists of 3 fundamental actions: slashing, thrusting, and blocking. Slashing forms a line, thrusting forms a point, and blocking forms a surface. And the most optimal form to perform these 3 actions is something else entirely. I close my eyes, then half open them. Something is in my hand. It's something extremely thin but stronger than anything else in the world. It's a form that closely resembles the thread of intent that a martial artist first sees when they begin to enter the world of martial arts. This is no longer a sword. Its name is immortal cultivation is repentant enlightenment. I feel the gaze of the owner of Great Mountain watching me from above. But it doesn't matter. I have already found my purpose. External pressure doesn't scare me. On the contrary, I will sever their gaze right here and now. The line-turned all-heaven sword begins to blaze white. Like tiny grains of salt gathering to form a sea, build mountains through repentant enlightenment. TSTSTSTSTSTSST. I raise the all-heaven sword. In the world of star veins, the all-heaven sword shines brighter than anything else. Building a mountain of salt is perhaps the fastest way to reach the heavens. Learning this mantra, everyone was annihilated. I can still feel it. This mantra is the power that calls upon Great Mountain. Through the phenomena extinguishing mantra, I can feel the gaze of the owner of Great Mountain growing stronger, and an attraction force between us begins to form. If this continues, I will become nothing more than a puppet dancing and dying under the owner of Great Mountain for the rest of my life, just like Hun Won. Each to one another holding hands, with everyone at sea, drink salt, and with the wind, soar. The attraction force between Great Mountain and I grows stronger. If this continued, Great Mountain might descend once more. However, at this point, I twist the mantra. Like combining all intents turn them colorless. Keying. The proper sequence of the phenomena extinguishing mantra is twisted, causing the attraction force to skew greatly. The white hue of the all-heavens sword remains, but most of the tyrannical energy Ba-Chi felt from the sword evaporates. I don't care. I never intended to rely on someone else's power anyway. What I have built up from the beginning is more than enough. Instead, I infer the mantra's formula and focus my intent even further. The white light seems to shine closer to colorlessness. Tot. I leap from the golden bird that is supporting me, raising the all-heavens sword even higher. Is it still lacking? I can't know for sure. Can I cut down a star? If I melted the star over decades with curses, perhaps it might be possible. But to cut it in a single strike, no matter how strong I am, is a daunting task. The distance is ambiguous. If only, just a little closer, I can definitely cut it down. And then, at that moment, Ta-Aht, Hong Fan, who has emerged from my domain, pushes me from behind. Please show me, master. Quote. I smile, embrace all connections and become impermanence. Twisting the phenomena extinguishing mantra, I swing what is in my hand. That is, I can feel it. Great Mountain is eager to descend and crush me at any moment. But I will sever it here. Great Mountain's gaze. The misfortune left to us. Even whatever fate that may come in the future. I see my masters flash before my eyes. And I embrace their words into my chest and speak them aloud. Before my eyes, I see a pure giant who sacrificed himself, singing of goodwill. Believing thus, reach for the star. The way to reach the star. The phenomena extinguishing mantra twists. Simultaneously, the star in front of me splits apart. The power of Great Mountain that placed some attraction force and gaze upon me is completely erased by the twisted phenomena extinguishing mantra that nullifies attraction force. Salt Mountain leaves my embrace. Though it's a natal dharma treasure I refined over countless years, I have no intention of holding onto it. How can I rely on such an external object? What I have built up is already within me. The misfortune that surrounded us has now disappeared. Even the gaze of Great Mountain was severed along with our single strike. Now, all that remains is to carve our way forward. Thud. With my domain, soul, and body all in tatters, I vomit blood while supported by Kim Young-hoon, Jaeon Myung-hoon, and Hong Fan. Is it done, Seo Eun-yun? Jaeon Myung-hoon asks urgently. I smile faintly. Quote. It will be. No, damn it. The esteemed one-level vestiges are still perfectly intact. And what about those thousands of integration-level vestiges? Damn it, just what did you do? How, it will. I can barely speak. My whole body feels shattered. But we will be able to escape. The misfortune that surrounded us is gone. Kuguguging. I see the star of misfortune that I have cut down explode before my eyes. As the misfortune dissipates, the wind from the explosion blows forth. It's the fair wind of fate. And then, pot, from within my domain, Yukyo emerges. She glances at me and my comrades, then bows her head. Quote. Thank you for everything. Recognizing her intention, I ask. Will you be alright? Quote. For me, that place is home. After bowing to us, she quickly flies towards the Salt Mountain. As she reaches the Salt Mountain, it shines brightly. At the same time, the previously miniaturized Salt Mountain and Salt Crystal Palace become huge once again. She reaches the summit of the Salt Mountain. Quote. Will you be alright? I ask once more. This time, it's directed not at Yukyo, but at Baek Rin. Baek Rin, who has emerged from my domain, gives a faint smile. Quote. Please take good care of Shihun and Yeonghwa. I will. Go. I am eternally grateful for your majesty's grace. With those final words, Baek Rin quickly flies over to stand beside Yukyo. Baek Rin is a beloved presence. Not only by Shihun and Yeonghwa, but also by the followers. By the former disciples of the White Vein Gate who became followers. But now, they are no more. So, he is merely following the one he loves even more among those who remain. I understand Baek Rin's resolve. Even if the world he is heading towards is an illusion, he believes his feelings for Yukyo are real. Baek Rin takes Yukyo's hand in front of the palace and looks back at us. Then, the two demon spirits, who are smiling at each other. No, the two people, enter the palace. In that final moment, in my eyes, the two appear not as a ghost reduced to bones and a demon who lived indulgently, but a tidy young man and a pure princess. Flash. The two cross into another world, and the fair winds of fate blow us away as the Punglai Islands formation activates. Kia, Kaijegergergek, Kwengi, the esteemed 1-level vestiges and Grand Cultivator level vestiges are all sucked into the formation and disappear. They no longer pursue us. In a world that may be an illusion or may be real, they will live on forever. I will never forget you all. Seeing my friends who are once again leaving us, but did not meet an entirely tragic end, I smile with tears. With the fair winds of fate, and until we finally reach the bright cold realm. I laughed and cried, filled with loss, joy, and emotions that words could never dare express. Thus, I finally placed a period on our long pilgrimage through the Middle Realms. Chapter 413, 3 Great Disasters 1. Kuong. With a deafening explosion, my comrades and I simultaneously cross the interdimensional void and arrive in this otherworldly space. It's a familiar place. The care layer of lofty dragon true person storage scroll. The familiar burning smell. The familiar landscape. The familiar beings. And the pain of loss that I can never get used to. I turn back to check on those who remain. Kim Young-hoon, Jaeon Myung-hoon, Oh Yun-sok, Kim Yeon, Buk Hyung-hwa, Hong Fan, Seo Ran, Shiho, Yeon Jin, Wei Shi-hun, Eum-hwa. Out of the countless followers of the Wuji religious order, which numbered up to 400 million, only 11 people have successfully entered the storage scroll of Lofty Dragon True Person. Including Baek Rin and Yuk Yo, as well as the other Guardian Ghost Kings and other mid-level leaders, none of them made it here with us. No one else reached this place with us. For a while, I gazed silently at the entrance of the interdimensional void from which we escaped from. My other comrades do the same. Especially Jaeon Myung-hoon, who is trembling with both hands and biting his lips. If it weren't for us, he might have gone berserk right here and now. Wu Wang. The gap in the dimensional barrier that we pierced through begins to close again, thanks to the restorative power of the storage scroll. Only then do I take a deep breath and turn my head. There, standing with tense expressions, are Gyo Yom and the other 2 members of the Heaven Tribe. Did you send everyone out of the storage scroll? At my question, Gyo Yom nods frantically. Before they could perform the summoning ritual, the miscellaneous forces who had entered this place with them were all sent outside of the storage scroll. They probably thought Gyo Yom and the 4-axis stage cultivators were trying to hog the treasures, but unfortunately, what they got was not treasure, but us, who have lost comrades and are extremely on edge. You, why aren't you answering and just nodding your head? Do we look laughable to you? Jaeon Myung-hoon glares at Gyo Yom and growls. His bloodshot eyes seem full of anger from not being able to save any of the disciples of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect, who were part of the Wuji religious order. Gyo Yom, a 4-axis stage cultivator of the blood shark race with also quite the temper, has no choice but to bow down in fear before the integration stage grand cultivator emitting streams of red lightning from his body and glaring at him with bloodshot eyes. And no, Elder, I dared to act disrespectfully. Please forgive me. I have a wife waiting for me at home. At the mention of a wife, Jaeon Myung-hoon grinds his teeth and shifts his gaze to the other members of the Heaven Tribe. And just what are you two, standing there with your heads held so high? Ah, our apologies, Grand Cultivator, Elder. Please forgive us. Not Ju and Baekwi Ik break out in cold sweat. I reach out into the air, retrieving the purple soul filling the heavens that is tied to them. Wu Wang, by my attraction force, the heavenly lotus fruit hanging from the Melia tree falls into my hand. After taking the heavenly lotus fruit, I walk to the side of the Melia tree and look at a corpse. It's the corpse of Hyeon Gui. The body of Hyeon Gui, which has just begun to decay, looks quite gruesome. But that is all. There's no suspicious energy or any strange signs. I extend my consciousness toward Hyeon Gui's body and search it thoroughly, but find nothing unusual. Hyeon Gui practiced the orthodox methods of the black-scaled fish commanding sect. He primarily cultivated methods that borrowed the power of Black Dragon King Hyeon Eum, optimizing his body for the 4 symbols nascent soul, which borrowed Hyeon Eum's power. Even when I concentrate the precision of my consciousness to examine his body down to the cellular and genetic levels, I find nothing out of the ordinary. After observing Hyeon Gui's corpse for a while, I eventually bury it with a spell. No matter how I think about it, he was connected to a true immortal. It's better not to touch the corpse further and attract unwanted attention. Holding the heavenly lotus fruit, I return to the altar where my comrades are while deep in thought. From now on, I must be careful not to get entangled with true immortals. I recklessly use the Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique. As a result, Those who had believed in me were annihilated due to being entangled with the owner of Great Mountain. This world is filled with malice. Though Yan Wei's words are sometimes wrong, they are fundamentally correct. In this world, even a drop of water in the stream or a grain of sand on the roadside can be connected to a great being. From now on, even breathing must be done with caution. I must be extremely meticulous and careful to the point of feeling like my head's about to burst. Gyo Yom. I approached Gyo Yom. Gyo Yom, showing his humility, bows his head before me. Take it. This is your reward for helping us. Thank you. He trembles as he squeezes a handful of juice from the heavenly lotus fruit and offers the rest back to me. I offer to the Great One. I gave it to you, so why are you returning it? I have heard that the heavenly lotus fruit is a spiritual fruit that aids in rising to the star-shattering stage. I hope the elder takes it and elevates your realm. After contemplating for a moment, I decide to accept the heavenly lotus fruit. Even if I don't need it, it might be useful for my comrades. After receiving the heavenly lotus fruit, I turn my gaze to the other two who have pulled us here along with Gyo Yom. Nokju and Baekwi Ik are bowing before me, their faces pale with fear. Yugugik. As I reach out my hand, the space distorts. At the same time, the space that I warped returns to normal, revealing a hidden warehouse within the care layer. Exclamation mark quote. That's. I speak with an expressionless face. Pick what you need from inside. It should be more useful than most things in the storage scroll. These are the treasures I pulled over and accumulated within the storage scroll over several decades through my avatar. They should be quite useful. The two exchange awkward glances before entering the storage. I have revealed to choose their items. Nokju chooses a lump of lightning marsh gem soil, Lei Zai Jin 2, beneficial for trees. Baekwi Ik selects one of the spiritual fruits known as Heavenly Blessing Summit Tian Wei Feng. Good. Now, you two go over there for a moment. I nod toward Baekwi Ik and Nokju, and they hurriedly nod back and withdraw to the rear. Gyo Yom, however, looks at me with a pale face, seemingly not understanding why I left him behind. Elder, do you have some business with me? You are from the Earth tribe, correct? Specifically, the blood shark race among the sea demon race. Why yes, that's correct, but, in that case, how do the sea demon race conduct funerals? Pardon, I asked Gyo Yom about the funeral customs of the demon race. Over 80% of the Wuji religious order's followers were ghostly creatures. Wei Shihun and Eamhua know well how to honor ghostly creatures, but about 20% of the followers were demon beasts recruited in the ancient force realm. Among them, those of the sea demon race were particularly numerous, and I need to know how to conduct their funerals. I could have asked Seo Ran, who is of the sea dragon race, but since Seo Ran stated that the entire dragon race, including the sea dragon race, only holds funerals in the manner of the dragon race, it seems pointless to ask him. Of course, Seo Ran does know some funeral customs of the demon race, but they are all from the lower realm, so they might not be appropriate. That's why I left Gyo Yom behind. After thinking for a moment, Gyo Yom responds. May I ask how the deceased passed away? They were killed by an existence that could not be resisted. At my words, Gyo Yom's eyes gleam as he answers. For our demon race, particularly the sea demon race in the middle realms, most of our funeral customs are similar. When someone dies of natural causes, or while advancing their realm, or falling victim to chi deviation and heart demons, or to heavenly tribulation, we perform a sky burial to allow them to become one with nature. However, if they die due to a natural disaster or disease, they are cremated, and if they are murdered, the relatives of the deceased and those who had a close relationship bury them and vow revenge. Natural death calls for a sky burial. Accidental death leads to cremation. In the case of murder, they are buried, and revenge is vowed. Such is the funeral custom of the demon race. After discussing it with my comrades, we exterminate the fire corpses on the first level of the storage scroll, the water flow layer, and build a large burial mound. This is to honor the countless 400 million followers of the order. It is also to etch into our hearts the desire for revenge against the god of Great Mountain, who slaughtered these followers. We specifically chose to build the tomb inside the storage scroll to keep it as close as possible to the place where they died. Just like we did after the incident with the god of heavenly punishment, Jaeon Myung-hoon, myself, Kim Myung-hoon, and the rest of my comrades. We swear our vows in the midst of roaring flames. I will avenge you. I speak. I will take revenge. Kim Myung-hoon says. I will avenge you all. Oh Yun-sok says. Following, Jaeon Myung-hoon, Kim Yeon, Buk Hyung-hwa, Seo Ran, Shi-ho, Hong Fan, Yeon Jin, Wei Si-hun, Eum-hwa, and everyone else all speak of revenge. Woo Wang, Kugugugugugu. When we all simultaneously unleash our auras, powerful 5-element spiritual energy swirls around us. Perhaps it's because we all stared directly at the god of Great Mountain. No matter how much the mountain god lowered their rank and descended, a great being is still a great being. After seeing them, we all gained powerful 5 elements divine powers. In my case, I became able to see the yin-yang and 5 elements energy even more clearly, and in Oh Yun-sok's case, just witnessing the owner of Great Mountain cause the creation of the 5 elements axis within his body, allowing him to reach the grand perfection 4-axis stage. Kim Young-hoon suddenly formed a golden core infused with the 5 elements within his body, reaching the core formation stage. Buk Hyung-hwa gained a divine power that enabled her to create hands made of 5 elements spiritual energy, and Kim Yeon unexpectedly formed a demon core within herself, reaching the Earth Tribe's core formation stage. Seo Ran, as if his bloodline was stimulated, advanced from the grand perfection heavenly being stage to just half a step into the 4-axis stage. Shi-ho, also as if his bloodline had been stimulated, is now able to imbue his illusory dream divine powers with attributes similar to the 5 elements blood curse banner. The yin-yang 5 elements of Yeon Jin's nascent soul perfectly aligned, allowing him to leap over the grand perfection nascent soul stage in an instant to the early heavenly being stage. Jaeon Myung-hoon is now able to infuse the lightning within his integrated Tao domain with the 5 elements, enabling him to rain down 5 elements lighting tribulation. Wei Si-hun and Eum-hwa each gained the ability to create ghost fire with the attributes of the 5 elements. Every one of us had to endure a terrifying experience with the appearance of the mountain god, but in exchange, each one of us have become much stronger. It's as if merely encountering the mountain god was treated as a heavenly tribulation, as even those who had their cultivation realm rise did not face any tribulations. After we all spoke of revenge and ignited the flames, I look at them and say, quote, I'm sorry to everyone, but you know there's still something left to do, right? At my words, they all nod weakly. We need to rescue Kang Min-hee. Jaeon Myung-hoon speaks with a gloomy expression. Yeah, and judging by my estimation, my face hardens. She may have reached the star-shattering stage by now. She would have already metamorphosed into the ghost-guiding Holy Mother and gone berserk. At this point in time, there's no way to stop her from rampaging. Just like how the power of fate kept restoring things to their original state whenever I tried to save my comrades. Kang Min-hee at this point of time will have gone berserk and is to devour the bright cold realm. Quote, It's a bit awkward to say this, but if I can just have 300 more years, I'm confident I can reach the grand perfection integration stage and attempt to advance to the star-shattering stage. I have the experience of having reached the grand perfection integration stage before. Even though I regressed and fell to the early integration stage, I'm confident I can rise to grand perfection again with that experience. Our goal is one. I look at my comrades and speak. Let's become stronger. Clenching my fist, I say. Let's become even stronger, so that no one can oppress us. Drip, drip, drip. Something flows from my eyes. It's a curse. Just like after the 10th cycle's Yuan Li, black curses are falling from my eyes. Chi. The surrounding ground decays and crumbles in an instant. It's been a long time since anything like normal tears flowed from my eyes. Kwang. Feeling an inexplicable tightness, I hit my chest. A monstrous thing formed of curses crawls out of my body, looks at me, and then hastily flees. Monsters grow out of my body and flee, while the serene scene of my integrated Tao domain is reflected around me. My integrated Tao domain is a desert. In the desert, 3,000 colorless glass swords are embedded. During the day, the ground burns fiercely, while at night, monsters grow in the darkness, trembling with fear and wailing as they try to escape my domain. Standing in the center of the monsters fleeing from me, I feel curses flowing from my 7 orifices and speak. Let's become stronger, and take revenge. We must. The curses flow through my body, covering me completely. Amidst the curses, I reveal my true form with 20 heads and roar. We must avenge them and honor the dead. Kururururu. Jaeon Myung-hoon becomes the giant of red lightning. Perhaps due to his elevated cultivation, Jaeon Myung-hoon's head split in half, becoming the lightning god with 2 heads and 6 arms. Oh Yun-sok reveals his giant body of purple primordial chaos, and Kim Young-hoon, unable to contain his sorrow, shouts toward the heavens. The shadow of a golden pung swirls around Kim Young-hoon. Wei Si-hun and Eum-hwa, Hong Fan and Seo Ran, and Shiho all reveal their gigantic true forms, and while they shed tears of blood, they let out ghostly wails, while Buck, Hyunghwa and Kim Yeon silently shed tears with pale faces. Yi and Jin, through his Taiji quaking lightning body, sheds tears as his face splits in half, and Gyo Yom, Nakju, Baekwi Ik, and the others huddle together in fear, trembling with the monsters that collapsed under my roar. The goal for this life is simple. Save Kong Min-hee. And to save her, I will raise my cultivation. I will elevate my realm and become stronger. With that simple yet difficult goal engraved in my heart, I swallow my tears, embrace my comrades within my integrated Tao domain, and set out from the storage scroll. Chapter 414. 3 Great Disasters 2. Pot. A streak of white light pierces through the void, accompanied by the sound tearing through the air. Coo-goo-goo-goo-goo. Within the white light, a powerful pressure of spiritual energy and a massive gust of wind erupts, causing numerous demon beasts and spirit beasts to flee in terror as soon as they feel its presence. Kurring, urrrrrrrrrng. Suddenly, dark clouds seem to flow toward the white light and are drawn into it. The white light is Seo Un-yun, and what entered him are the clouds of heavenly tribulation. However, despite the bizarre and terrifying event, Seo Un-yun merely twitches his eyes slightly without any change in expression as he flies swiftly toward the human race territory. Kurring, Kurururung. Inside my domain, Seo Ran is currently completing his advancement to the 4-axis stage. Perhaps the sea orchid fruit I previously obtained from the storage scroll of Lofty Dragon True Person proved to be quite helpful. After consuming the fruit, Seo Ran achieved a tremendous rise in his cultivation and became able to attempt advancing from half-step into the 4-axis stage to the complete 4-axis stage. Of course, due to time being the essence in our current situation, we decided to proceed with the advancement while I am carrying him within me. Naturally, this meant that the heavenly tribulation would rage within my domain, potentially causing damage. Fortunately, Jaeon Myung-hoon is able to minimize the impact of the heavenly thunder, preventing any major issues. Wu Wang. I move rapidly through the air, absorbing the heaven and earth spiritual energy of the bright cold realm. For 190,000 years, I slowly raised my cultivation realm. Although I had advanced my realm within the dense heaven and earth spiritual energy right after the beginning of creation, I nonetheless acquired a considerable amount of insight into the realm that an integration stage cultivator should possess. Therefore, I was able to elevate my realm from the very beginning of the integration stage to the early stage in an instant. Of course, progressing through the middle and late stages to reach grand perfection will require considerable time. The formula for the integration stage is divided into 6 major aspects. Rain, Yu, Sun, Yang, Heat, Yu, Cold, Han, Wind, Feng, and Time, Shi. These aspects represent cloudiness, Yu, clearness, Yang, warmth, Yu, coldness, Han, and Wind, Feng, symbolizing the changes of the seasons, Shi. Cultivation in the integration stage involves unifying heaven, earth and the 4 directions, the 6 harmonies Lue within one's integrated Tao domain. By integrating each of these 6 harmonies, one can gain a divine power, and these divine powers are named after the 6 aspects mentioned above. Collectively, they are referred to as various omens, Shuji, a process of mastering one's domain more perfectly and harmonizing within it. In the case of Jaeon Myung-hoon's integrated Tao domain, the charged lightning veil of the great, heavenly rain, Utien he most strongly awakened the divine power of rain Yu, hence the name. Most integration stage. Grand cultivators typically awaken their divine powers in the order of rain Yu, Sun, Yang, Heat, Yu, Cold, Han, Wind, Feng, and Time, Shi. However, I am different. Wu Wang. I can feel day and night circulating within my domain. Day and night, also known as twilight, Guangyin light and shade, are other terms representing the passage of time. When I first gazed upon the immortal treasure of time, Young Sung, my body had scattered into twilight as if I had become one with time itself. Regardless, the crucial point is this. Time. I awakened the divine power of time first, rather than rain. I have some guesses as to why I awakened the divine power of time first. Vast cold heavenly circle. Wu Wang. The formula of the vast cold heavenly circle rotates, awakening the divine power of time. Wing. As twilight rotates according to the formula of the vast cold heavenly circle, the last of the 6 divine powers is awakened. Since I've awakened time instead of rain, I'll have to gain enlightenment of the divine powers in the opposite direction compared to other cultivators. In the previous cycle, at the beginning of creation, I awakened wind after time, rather than sun following rain. Wind, Feng. Coo goo 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 goo. Normally, I would move quietly, but in order to obtain the divine power of wind, the next divine power after time, I advance while scattering storms around me with the sound of tearing through the air. How long have I been flying through the air? Pong. Within the wind, I notice a familiar region appearing in the distance. Swiftwind domain. YOO. Swiftwind domain, where wind, darkness, and yin energy gather abundantly, has not transformed into something akin to a part of the nether ghost realm this time, as Kong Minhee did not emerge from here in this cycle. The Kong Minhee of present is very likely to emerge around the human race territory. Using the ground shrinking technique, flying escape technique, gliding technique, and sword flight, I quickly pass through Swiftwind domain, heading toward the human race territory. At the same time, I slightly open my domain to absorb a portion of the wind from the Swiftwind domain into it. Pot. A few days later, in the distance, the human race territory, the Sky Island archipelago, comes into view. She hasn't awakened yet. Kong Minhee, the ghost guiding Holy Mother, will inevitably awaken at this point and devastate the surroundings. Last time, she awakened in Swiftwind domain and wreaked havoc, but this time, there was no cause for her to awaken there. In other words, she is likely to awaken at the Black Ghost Valley's human race branch and lay waste to the surrounding area. I can't even imagine how many humans will die. Flying with a sharp gaze, I quickly ponder through the situation. I don't know when Kong Minhee will awaken. It wouldn't be strange if she woke up right now. Therefore, before she awakens, I need to evacuate the human race to a place out of reach of Kong Minhee's influence, who is at the star-shattering stage. At Temporal Fate Island, located at the very outskirts of the human race territory, I notice that a barrier has been activated, likely in response to sensing my rapid approach to that direction. The entire human race territory is shrouded in clouds, making its presence faint. If I were a mindless monster or a grand cultivator visiting the human race territory for the first time, I might not have noticed its existence and simply flown past. This is the barrier grand formation activated through the dragon vein of the entire human race territory, also known as the concealment grand formation, hiding and protecting the territory by making it invisible to powerful beings flying nearby. Kwong. However, I accurately sense a gap in the concealment grand formation and smash through one of its corners, entering the human race territory. Simultaneously, flash, flash, flash. Multiple orbs of light float around me. The orbs twist in the air and transform into human figures. They are the projections of the grand cultivators of the human race Grand Alliance. Jun Jae, Gal Mike, Gai Jin, Ung Yian, Wei Ryong Son, and Wei Su. These are the 6 integration stage grand cultivators of the current human race Grand Alliance, excluding Hun Won. They seem to flinch in surprise as they look at me. It's been a while, everyone from the Grand Cultivator Association. Ha, ha ha, so it was you, Cultivator CO. Jun Jae seems to be breaking out in a slight cold sweat, but then he smiles. However, I see his heart essence wildly fluctuating. You managed to escape from the ancient force realm, I see. We were actually planning to extract you soon, but you managed to get out on your own. Moreover, you reached the integration stage while in the ancient force realm. Haha, it seems you've truly earned the right to be called a grand cultivator now. Perhaps we should hold a celebration. Thank you for your kind words, but there's no time for that. I awkwardly smile, cutting off Jun Jae's attempt to avoid my wrath. There is a high possibility that a star-shattering stage entity is going to attack the human race Grand Alliance. We need to relocate the entire human race to another place immediately. If not, the entire human race territory will be completely destroyed today. At my words, they all look up at the sky. Ironically, the celestial energy is clear. But it's the truth. This is simply a matter in which an extremely high-ranking entity, such as the chief judge of the netherworld, is involved, so they can't read the celestial energy. It seems that due to the involvement of a high-ranking entity, the celestial energy cannot be read at this moment. But you all know it too. That we were unable to read the celestial energy concerning a certain entity that revealed itself on Thunder Spirit Island. At my words, they seem to exchange opinions via voice transmission and then nod. Indeed, I understand what you're saying. However, relocating the human race territory is a matter that requires great caution. Even if it's the word of Grand Cultivator CO, we must gather all the Grand Cultivators in their main bodies, perform collective foresight, submit a petition to the Sacred Master, and only after receiving a reply confirming the danger should we. I apologize, but there's no time for that. We must relocate the human race territory immediately, even if it's just 1 day earlier. To be honest, I find it hard to believe. But since you are a grand cultivator, I'm considering the procedures for your sake, so please bear with us. If this matter was so urgent that it required immediate attention upon your arrival, why didn't you notify us in advance? Jun Jae seems to be sternly reprimanding me, but I suppress the rising irritation and calmly open my mouth to speak. First, calm down and listen to what I have to say. I tried to inform you about this matter in advance. But Alliance head Jun Jae, you cut off my contact right away and even prevented me from reaching out to the Human Race Grand Alliance. At my words, Jun Jae's mouth opens and closes before he awkwardly coughs. That was. I'm sorry. I was in the middle of training my newly acquired lightning divine power, and the lightning within me acted up, causing me to accidentally cut off Cultivator Seo's connection. But to immediately evacuate based on Cultivator Seo's claim that a terrifying entity is descending, to be honest. And at that moment, a streak of red lightning seems to emerge from within me, followed by a terrifying voice that reverberates through the area. Don't spout dogshit. The lightning is whispering that your words are lies. Kururung. From within my domain, thunder roars as Jaeon Myung-hoon growls. He grinds his teeth and emerges from within my domain. Thud. Jaeon Myung-hoon's upper body crawls out from behind me, his blood-red lightning-filled eyes glaring at Jun Jae and the projections of the Grand Cultivator Association. These dog bastards are mocking us. The lightning is clearly whispering to me that you cut off the contact in a hurry, fearing Seo Eun-yun might return. Lying is one thing, but seeing you trash sitting on your hands while Seo Eun-yun is kindly running around to save your worthless lives makes my already rotten 5 viscera and 6 bowels twist. I can't stand it any longer. Barely containing the lightning, he threatens the Grand Cultivator Alliance. Seo Eun-yun is politely explaining the situation to you, yet it seems your stomachs are too bloated and your butts are too heavy to move. I'm warning you, stop with the disgusting lies and excuses, and follow his instructions. If you don't, I'll tear you limb from limb and scatter your remains throughout the human race territory. At Jaeon Myung-hoon's murderous words, the expressions of the Grand Cultivator Association also darken. And who is this bastard? It looks like you've reached the integration stage, but it seems you're acting without knowing your place just because we're kind to Cultivator Seo. Cultivator Seo proved his strength back in the 4-axis stage, but do you think we're afraid of some nobody like you who crawled out of nowhere? Besides, it seems your main cultivation method involves lightning divine power, but each and every one of us gained lightning divine powers and enlightenment in lightning in general, so we're not particularly afraid of your lightning. Behave yourself. At those words, Jaeon Myung-hoon falls silent. Then, I see the veins bulging across his body. Seo Eun-yun. What? Red lightning crackles in all 4 directions around him as he opens his mouth. Let's just kill them all. I understand what Jaeon Myung-hoon is implying, knowing that he has been communicating his thoughts to our comrades via voice transmission. In any case, there's no way to drive out the human race from this area through persuasion alone. Therefore, with force, we will combine our strengths and expel the entire human race from this area. That, Jaeon Myung-hoon is saying, is the fastest and easiest way. Normally, I would have opposed it. Even if it took some time, I would have calmly explained the reasons, shown the evidence, and led them slowly. But right now, with my comrades massacred by the owner of Great Mountain, and knowing that Kong Min-hee will soon descend, I realize that I can't afford to waste time. I close my eyes briefly, opening them with an exhale. Then, black ghostly energy and curses begin to emanate from around me. Alright, Woodook, Woodooduk, Woodook. 19 heads sprout from my shoulders, and I become the Ghost King with 20 heads. The projections of the Grand Cultivators vanish, and 6 spatial rifts begin to form in their place. The human race's Grand Cultivators are gathering. The power I sense beyond the rifts are strong, as if they have significantly recovered from their injuries, and there is a subtle presence of lightning power, likely the knowledge and divine power they gained from facing the owner of heavenly punishment. Bulge, writhe, my comrades emerge from within my domain. From behind me, the true form of Hong Fan, Seo Ran, and Shiho spring forth, followed by a gigantic Wei Shihun and a devilized Yamhua. At the same time, from my shoulders, Jaeon Myung-hoon in his 2-head 6-armed lightning god form and the starlight giant Oh Yun-sok, who has now reached the pinnacle of the Azure Spirit Starlight Quintessence Great Method, emerge. From my chest, Buk Hyunghwa and her puppet, created by modifying the Dharma treasures and materials from Lofty Dragon's storage scroll, along with Kim Yeon, appear. Wu Wang, I draw the colorless glass sword from my domain and hold it in my hand. From the integration stage onwards, one can directly retrieve items from their domain, so I can summon things from anywhere I desire without having to retrieve Dharma treasures from my mouth. Kua Jijijijijik. I can sense the clones of Wei Ryong Son sending voice transmissions across the human race territory. I see sects loyal to the grand cultivators flying in from various places. Even most of the 6 major sects of the human race are heading this way. Even now, if you withdraw your Dharma treasures and divine powers and peacefully come with us to Heavenly Human Island, I will overlook your earlier rudeness. Seo Eun-yun, if you don't want to fight the entire human race, then even now. The entire human race, huh? Wu Wang, the 3 great ultimates rise behind me. Now that I have entered the integration stage, the 3 great ultimates I summon exude a far more distinct and domineering aura than before. It is no longer like an active volcano, but more like watching the volcano erupt in real time. Now, the 3 great ultimates behind me are no longer just mere forms. As the 3 great ultimates rotate, they begin generating tangible physical force. Kugugugugugu. A whirlwind begins to blow around me due to the power of the 3 great ultimates. From the 40 gleams in my eyes, curses ignite and radiate. Under the influence of the curses, parts of my body begin to bulge and writhe as monsters begin to emerge from me. I let out a small chuckle. Of course, it's a small laugh, but with so many mouths, and perhaps because of the wind, my laughter sounds like the wailing of a cacophony of ghosts. No, this is indeed the wailing of ghosts. Buried within my chest are the grudges of the dead followers, having turned into ghosts. In order for such a horrific massacre to never happen again, amidst the ghostly wails, I open my mouth with hardened eyes. From now on, I will drive the entire human race out of this area. Whether she awakens in the Swiftwind domain or in the Black Ghost Valley's human race branch, it doesn't matter. Kong Minhee will attack the human race first no matter what. After all, the souls that follow her the most are none other than those of the human race. Therefore, whether through persuasion or force, I must drive the human race out of here and force them to evacuate. Come at me, human race bastards. And so, the clash between me and the entire human race begins. Chapter 415, 3 Great Disasters 3. Jun Jae swallows. He can feel it. Even during the 4-axis stage, this is a monster that fought against the Grand Cultivator Association and even took a hostage. Just that alone is enough to redeem him the qualifications of someone at the Grand Perfection integration stage. And now, this monster brought along an integrated Dao domain with him. Jun Jae can't even imagine how much stronger he has become. Gulp. Jun Jae swallows again, focusing all his attention on the monster before him. And then, the specter of the 3 great ultimates raises his sword. Do not be nervous. No matter how strong he has become, he's only at the early integration stage. Of course, even if he isn't confident, it is still the leader's duty to boost his comrades' morale. Jun Jae steps forward, putting his golden scale-covered body at the forefront. In the next moment, Jun Jae's foresight reveals the human race territory split in 2. Hyok. Flash. A single line of light. The sound follows belatedly. But Jun Jae, no, everyone including Jun Jae, knows immediately. This is insane. Jun Jae breaks out in a cold sweat, his expression one of utter shock. Life drains from his eyes. He feels on the verge of a panic attack. The attacks from integration grand cultivators are powerful enough to vaporize an area with a diameter of 30,000 li with a single strike. But look at this. With a single strike from Seo Eun-yun, the monster of 3 great ultimates, land with a diameter of 300,000 li, along with the sea of clouds and all the sky islands in its path, are sliced apart. Only because he himself is at the grand perfection integration stage can Jun Jae comprehend that the being before him is a monster capable of annihilating a small decaying corpse realm in its entirety with a single blow. Of course, Jun Jae, being at the grand perfection integration stage, can bring about the extinction of the ecosystem within a decaying corpse realm. By triggering a sufficiently large earthquake and completely twisting the Earth's crust so that no living being can survive, all life within the decaying corpse realm would face extinction that very day. However, there is a vast difference between wiping out all life within a decaying corpse realm and annihilating the decaying corpse realm itself. Being at the great perfection integration stage himself, Jun Jae realizes as soon as he sees Seo Eun-yun's single strike. This power is beyond the integration stage. Tremble, shudder, shudder, shudder. As soon as he senses the level of power Seo Eun-yun wields, Jun-jae can tell what level of power the being before his eyes has reached. Not quite at the quasi-star shattering stage, but a being beyond the integration stage. Clench. But he can't give up. This human race territory is a precious domain his ancestors risked their lives to obtain. It's a cherished place that cannot be recklessly moved at the whim of a single member. Everyone, charge at the colorless sword ghost. Colorless sword ghost, Seo Eun-yun. This is the title Seo Eun-yun earned after his previous battle with the Grand Cultivator Association. A nickname given that describes him literally, a ghost wielding a sword. Stay put, you sword ghost bastard. No matter how strong you are, do you really think you can defeat all of us? Gai Jin, Ung Yeon, and others. The integration stage Grand Cultivators who are still young or inexperienced excitedly charge at Seo Eun-yun. But we Ryong-son and we Su, those with more experience or keen minds, or figures like Jun-jae himself or Hun-wan, who are at higher cultivation realms, hesitate, launching their attacks at Seo Eun-yun from the rear. Yet, despite being in the back, Jun-jae's expression remains calm. An integration stage cultivator capable of producing attacks nearing the star-shattering stage, but that's all. He focuses his attack on Seo Eun-yun with a serious expression as he instructs the sects that have responded to the Grand Cultivator Association's summons to target Jaeon Myung-hoon and other integration-level comrades, all while contemplating the integration stage. At the early stage at that, there's no way he can use such overwhelming attacks frequently. At most, he can use it 3 times. We just need to be cautious for 2 more attacks. After that, his power will drop to the level of an ordinary Grand Perfection Integration Stage cultivator. At that point, Gall Mike and I can join forces to subdue him. Jun-jae completes what he believes to be the most rational judgment within the scope of his knowledge, his eyes gleaming. Keep attacking. As long as he's enduring our full assault, he won't be able to move easily. Wee Ryong-son swings his fan, causing flames to surge, and Wee Su amplifies the firepower with a gust of wind. Gai Jin sprouts spores and hyphae from within the flames, covering Seo Eun-yun's body, while Ung Yeon pulls out her tower, a quasi-refining void dharma treasure, and presses down on Seo Eun-yun. Gall Mike gathers energy in both hands, sending a violet glow shooting towards Seo Eun-yun, and Jun-jae unleashes his magnetic dharma treasures to suppress Seo Eun-yun's body. At the same time, they don't forget to attack Seo Eun-yun with lightning divine power, scorching him like heavenly tribulation. It's working, he's unable to move. If we can stall him like this and avoid 2 more of his attacks, victory will be ours. However, despite gaining the upper hand, Jun-jae anxiously surveys his surroundings. Kurururung. Among the 6 major sects of the human race, the Black-Scaled Fish Commanding Sect, Entering Truth Gate, and Heavenly Lotus Sect are all focusing their efforts on keeping a single Jaeon Myung-hoon at bay. Jaeon Myung-hoon swings his 6 arms in all 4 directions, brandishing his lightning spear, and each time he swings the lightning spear, the martial forces of each sect fall apart like paper. Gua. As Jaeon Myung-hoon roars, a taiji emerges around him, and a domain of lightning and thunder begins to form in the vicinity. Kuururururung. As soon as he opens his domain, countless red lightning bolts start raining down from above. Integration with late-stage power. Considering how his current realm appears to be at the early stage, it's terrifying to imagine how much stronger he'll become once he reaches the late stage. Jun-jae turns his gaze elsewhere. On the battlefield, Punglai Palace of the human race 6 major sects is being confronted by Hong Fan, Kim Yeon, and Buk Hyung-hwa. The poison scattered by the giant centipede demon leaves left the law enforcers of Punglai Palace unable to focus, and in the chaos, Kim Yeon is manipulating Buk Hyung-hwa's puppets to fight against Punglai Island. Punglai Palace deployed the general Seos they previously took from Seo Eun-yun, but in the span of 3 blinks, they were taken over by Kim Yeon. Though it appears like Hong Fan and the puppets are being pushed back by the Punglai Palace disciples, Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique, Buk Hyung-hwa, who is within the puppets, is continuously modifying them in real time and making them stronger. No, more than that, how is that woman so calmly evading and breaking through the attacks of higher-level cultivators so effortlessly? Jun-jae is staring at Kim Yeon, a woman clearly only at the heavenly being stage. However, her movements are bizarrely fast. Wo Wang, quote. Jun-jae frowns as he notices 5 orb-like things floating around Kim Yeon. Each time one of the orbs enters her body, her puppet manipulation speed increases significantly. It's not simply at the level of being fast. That speed rivals the flying escape technique of an integration stage Grand Cultivator. That woman is also a major factor at the level of a Grand Cultivator. He analyzes the combat potential of those Seo Eun-yun brought with him. The Black Ghost Valley is in combat with Shiho and Seo Ran. Shiho is bearing his 6 tails and growling atop Seo Ran's nether crossing ship, while the Black Ghost Valley has deployed 2 nether crossing ships, several 4-axis Ghost Kings, as well as Heo Gwak and Heo Ryong to pressure the 2 of them. However, damn it, what the hell is that now? Oh Yun-sok, who has joined with the Azure Heaven Creation sect, that has just risen to the bottom of the 6 major sects of the human race, is fighting together with them against the entire Black Ghost Valley. Ooh ha 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 ha, hoo ha 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 ha. Azure Tiger Saint Cheonmin Sunwoo and Oh Yun-sok are both exuding the same energy as they battle against the Ghost Kings of the Black Ghost Valley. You fools, what are you doing right now? Are you declaring your betrayal to the human race? Jun Jae shouts towards the Azure Heaven Creation sect. But what he receives in return is the boisterous laughter of Azure Tiger Saint. Ha ha ha, before being part of the human race, we are of the same sect. They are traitors to the human race. Before being a traitor, he is my disciple. Azure Tiger Saint puffs out his chest in front of Oh Yun-sok and shouts. If you wish to imprison my disciple, you must first imprison me, his unworthy master. Jun Jae is at a loss for words, utterly bewildered. He doesn't even realize that it's only due to his Dharma treasure which makes him at the quasi-integration level that his sect was accepted into the human race's 6 major sects. Jun Jae grinds his teeth with his eyes gleaming. They're all hopeless. Every single one of them has something wrong. Goo. Starting with Jun Jae, domains begin to emerge from the bodies of the Grand Cultivators of the Grand Cultivator Association. Wo Wang. The domains of the Grand Cultivators wrap even more tightly around Seo Eun-yun, who is already trapped. Their domains overlap, enveloping the entire area where the battle is taking place. Typically, when domains overlap, they collide and push against each other. However, when the owners of the domains give permission, the domains instead overlap, and the energy amplifies even more. Goo. Jun Jae's eyes shine with a stern light. His entire body transforms into a giant covered in golden scales. Gao Mike becomes a giant figure completely enveloped in unknown bones. Gai Jin turns into a mass of mushrooms and hyphae sprouting from his entire body, while Eun Yi merges with her Dharma treasures, becoming a golden dragon. Wei Ryong Son becomes a butterfly of flames, and Wei Su becomes a butterfly with wings of wind, all revealing their true forms. This is the end, you bastards. Now kneel before the authority of humanity. Just as the golden-scaled giant, who released all his strength, raises one hand. Crack. Jun Jae suddenly turns around at the spine-chilling sound coming from behind him. Guguk. As a dark wind sweeps in, a pitch-black hand shoots up from within the prison of flames. Then, a ghost king with 20 heads emerges from within, wielding a colorless sword. This, damn it. Stop it. At Jun Jae's shout, all the Grand Cultivators combine their powers, intensifying the seal on the Ghost King and launching their attacks. But the Ghost King, despite being struck by countless attacks, calmly converses with someone. Why are you still staying inside alone? It's because I'm not yet fully accustomed to the consciousness domain and spiritual power of the core formation stage. Isn't your strength even greater now? Before I can control my power even more perfectly, I'm trying to hold back. Well, do as you wish. Jun Jae feels an inexplicable chill as he watches this exchange. T's. Countless futures flash before his eyes. At the integration stage, a Grand Cultivator no longer sees just one possible future but multiple possibilities. If one sits quietly and concentrates for years, one could even predict possibilities far into the distant future. However, in Jun Jae's vision, only one possible future becomes visible. Everyone, get out of the way. Quagwagwagwang. The prison of flames collapses. The shockwave causes all the domains surrounding Seo Eun-yun to crumple. And Seo Eun-yun grips his sword once more. Jun Jae grits his teeth and shouts. He must have exhausted a significant amount of energy while escaping. Just avoid that. Goo. Then, Seo Eun-yun's single strike splits the entire human race territory in half once more. Jun Jae feels a chill run down his spine. The sheer power is one thing, but despite the massive slash cutting through the entire human race territory, while the terrain was destroyed, not a single living being was harmed. A single strike that passes through anything that isn't its target, cutting only what is intended. The precision is terrifying. However, Jun-jae feels relieved. He must have used up all his strength by now. He shouldn't be able to show such feats any longer. Then, Seo Eun-yun swings his sword. Boo Wang! .. Exclamation mark! Jun-jae is shocked and quickly dodges Seo Eun-yun's slash again. Once more, his sword splits heaven and earth. 8 out of 10 of the human race's sky islands have been sliced off by Seo Eun-yun's sword. In disbelief, Jun-jae shakes his head. That's right, I made a slight misjudgment. But that must have truly been the last. Seo Eun-yun grips his sword again. And he swings towards the Grand Cultivators. Once again, the Grand Cultivators strain with all their might to dodge, and Jun-jae's face turns pale. He must have learned some special secret art to conserve his energy. But this time, his strength must truly be. Seo Eun-yun swings his sword once more. Kugugugugu. The entire human race territory is filled with slashes, and the sky islands begin to fall. The foundation of humanity is being destroyed. Ah, I see. That is no ordinary above integration stage. Only then does Jun-jae realize. The Seo Eun-yun in front of him was never fighting them from the beginning. To the being before him, the Grand Cultivators are nothing more than insignificant fruit flies. He is simply doing what he said he would do from the beginning, attacking their foundation to drive humanity out of their homeland. Boo Wang! Boo Wang! Boo Wang! Each time the sword is swung, the floating formations of the Sky Islands shatter, and the Sky Islands fall. Stop! Sword light flashes. The formless sword light shatters all the formations within the human race territory. Stop it! Jun-jae shouts with despair in his eyes. As the clouds above the human race territory clear, their home is being destroyed by Seo Eun-yun's atrocities. I said stop. The land that humanity's ancestors had protected for generations is crumbling just like that. I'm telling you to stop right now. Jun-jae cries out in rage, shedding tears of blood as he screams at the monster swinging the sword. And then, Seo Eun-yun and Jun-jae's eyes meet. For the sake of humanity's territory, Jun-jae charges at the monster before him. Someone has to stop it. They have to stop this monster from bringing the end of the human era. Kwang! The next moment, Jun-jae is struck by Seo Eun-yun's single strike, and his entire golden-scaled body shatters and is flung away. His domain is split in half. It's immediately clear that Seo Eun-yun could have crushed them all to death at any time. Bastard! Gall Mike roars in fury as she expands her body and charges at Seo Eun-yun. Wee Ryong Son, Wee Su, Gai Jin, and Eung Yeon also launch a full-scale assault on Seo Eun-yun once more. Under Wee Ryong Son's command, the 6 major sects, the 5 major sects excluding the Azure Heaven Creation sect, that are fighting Seo Eun-yun's comrades, all rush at Seo Eun-yun together. Do not threaten humanity's foundation, you traitor! At Gai Jin's shout, countless members of the human race begin bombarding Seo Eun-yun with Dharma treasures and spells. And as Seo Eun-yun's 40 eyes glow, he begins to reveal a spine-chilling aura. I kept playing along with you, and now you don't know your place. Seo Eun-yun, who had never fully unleashed the power of the 3 great ultimates, begins to emit ghost fire from his glowing eyes. Fine, let's do this properly. The next moment, Seo Eun-yun vanishes. And in the following instant, the only one who reacts properly is Gall Mike. Pabong, Paepong, Gai Jin and Eung Yeon's bodies are sliced in half, and Seo Eun-yun's sword digs into Gall Mike's crossed arms, severing both of them. Seo Eun-yun coldly surveys his surroundings, using the flying escape technique, sword flight, and the gliding technique. From the beginning, he had no intention of facing the human race's great army. Though Jeon Myung-hoon said he would kill them all, Seo Eun-yun was confident he could suppress the entire human race without killing anyone, so they were just objectives on his list. His goal was to instill overwhelming fear and drive humanity out of their base. That's why he only used large-scale attacks to turn the human race territory into a mess. But no one, not a single member of humanity fears Seo Eun-yun. They are shocked, but that's all. Every one of them is burning with determination to protect their base. So this is why they're called the 2 evils with the fighting ghost race. The fighting ghost race, constantly burning with fighting spirit as they battle. The human race, who will continue to burn with fighting spirit even if their lives are about to be extinguished, as long as they have something to protect. Both races have parts of them that will never let their fighting spirit break, which is why they are both grouped together and called the Asura race. I thought wrong. After all, I'm human as well. Seo Eun-yun finally changes his mindset. With a half-hearted resolve, I can't make humanity kneel. He adjusts his sword stance. No longer is it a stance to merely intimidate the opponent, but a stance meant to properly kill the opponent. With fierce killing intent in his eyes, he opens his mouth. I apologize for underestimating you. In that case, from now on, he begins to unleash his killing moves. I will face you properly. Right now, his opponent is humanity. One of the two races in this vast bright cold realm that never falters. A thread-like sword energy erupts from his hand. No, it isn't something as trivial as sword energy. It's too terrifying to be called sword energy, too tyrannical to be called sword gang, and too sharp to be called sword pill Jian. It is, indeed, it is something that should rightfully be called surpassing path Yu Dao. The last technique of the first part of the Severing Mountain swordsmanship is called Sunrise Emerging Peak. Like sunlight breaking over a mountain peak, the countless thrusts pouring forth from the technique resemble a sunrise. But what Xiao Unyun is now executing is far from a mere sunrise. It is not a sunrise. This is creation Kai Pai, Severing Mountain swordsmanship, 12th move, D dodge, will be annihilated, 600 million lights creation emerging peak Luyi Guang Kai Pai Feng. The thread-like sword will pierce us through heaven, earth, and the four directions. And it doesn't stop at just piercing. Kugwang, Kugwagwagwang, it explodes. From the point where the thread-like thrust hits, a storm of sword energy erupts, turning the surrounding area into a wasteland. A tempest of slashes arises from all four directions. The foundation of humanity collapses entirely, plummeting to the ground. The territory of one of the mighty six heaven tribe races crumbles. Gal Mike stares at the monster before her with an aghast expression. Sword, ghost. Before her is the infamous sword ghost. However, she cannot accept that thing being under the mere title of sword ghost. Such a name is far too insufficient to contain it. And it seems everyone in the Grand Cultivator Association feels the same. From Wei Ryong Son's mouth, as he watches humanity's territory being destroyed, a new name emerges. Quote. Sword Devil Jian Mo. It's the Sword Devil. Kugugugugu. As a storm of slashes passes by, they swallow hard as they stare at the being before them. The Sword Devil, who has completely devastated all of humanity's territory, is still moving. Wang, Wo Wang, Wu Wang. Heaven and earth spiritual energy converges towards the being before them. The Sword Devil is preparing the next technique. Destroyed be all. Wei Ryong Son sheds tears. Everyone, flee. His will spreads across all of humanity. Wei Ryong Son's thousands of clones issue orders to tens of thousands of sects. The Grand Cultivator Association has been defeated. The devil of the sword seeks to trample us humans. He shouts as he faces Xiao Unyun's killing intent. Run away. If you wish to survive, escape from the range of the Sword Devil's attacks. Humanity has been defeated, and they are forced to abandon their homes, embarking on an indefinite exodus, driven out by the devil of the sword with 20 heads. From that day on, Xiao Unyun gained a new infamous name. The evil ghost who wields a formless sword. The formless sword devil Wu Xingjianmo Xiao Unyun. And not long after, all the races in the bright cold realm started to face the three great disasters that began to sweep across the realm in earnest. The mad puppet master who began to, truly, grow the wonderfully mysterious fortress. Mad Lord, Zhou Yian. The madman who expelled one of the two evils of the Heaven Tribe's 6 great races, the human race, from their homeland. Formless Sword Devil, Xiao Unyun. And the mindless monster that appeared with an army of ghosts and began to devour the world. Ghost Guiding Holy Mother, Kong Minhe. The Mad Lord Guai Jun. The Ghost Mother Gui Mu. The Sword Devil Jian Mo. The Bright Cold Realm collectively called these three the three great disasters Zai Yang. Translator notes. Yep. The 12th move was originally translated as ______ lights emerging peak. I thought the imagery was there without having the sunrise, which would make the name longer. I was but an ignorant mortal back then, daring to question the mind of the great tremendous. Who would have thought it would come back to haunt me now? TT. Chapter 416, Face to Face 1. She. From above the last remaining Sky Island, Thunder Spirit Island, I look down at the ruins of the human race territory. For some reason, I feel a complicated mix of emotions. Hey, Xiao Unyun. Jaeon Myonghoon approaches my side and speaks. Quote. Jaeon Myonghoon, why do you look so grim? You were the one who did it. Quote. Quote. He looks down at me with slightly hollow eyes. Quote. Did I do the right thing? Didn't you say Kong Minhe would be coming out soon anyway? Then, you did the right thing in the end. Quote. You know why I left Thunder Spirit Island, right? Jaeon Myung-hoon falls silent, his expression turning grim. That's right. I confidently raised the entire human race territory. Thanks to the All Heaven's Sword's ability to ignore planes, there were injuries but not a single death. However, I couldn't bring myself to destroy Thunder Spirit Island, the old site where Hong Su Ryong and our former sect, the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect, once stood. It's an incredibly selfish decision. I destroyed others' lands and homes, driving them away, yet I spared the place that held my own memories. A total self-centered act. The land I destroyed was surely someone's grave, a place filled with their memories. The image of me smashing everyone else's homeland while clinging dearly to mine makes me look utterly despicable in my own eyes. Why are you acting so pitifully? It's unlike you. Jaeon Myung-hoon gently strokes the wooden box that holds the hand of Jin So-hae as he speaks. Hugging your hometown then dying, or living even if you have to roll in the dirt after everything's been smashed, it's obvious which is better, isn't it? Stop whining uselessly and get up to prepare for Kong Min-hee. The people from Black Ghost Valley are here. Quote. Got it. After a moment of silence, I shake off my thoughts and stand up. Just as he said, now is not the time to get lost in sentimentality. I head towards the area near Thunder Spirit Island. To the place where the Black Ghost Valley and the Azure Heaven Creation Sector gathered. The people from the Azure Heaven Creation Sector diligently training their bodies on one side, while those from Black Ghost Valley are all silent and kneeling as if they are at a funeral. I look at the Black Grand Elder, Heo Gwak, who is at the forefront, and speak. Grand Elder Heo, please rise. Why are you all like this? Quote. Kung. Instead of responding, Heo Gwak bangs his head on the ground. I must first clarify that our opposition against Elder under the Grand Alliance's call was absolutely not of our own volition. Well, I figured as much. 2 nether crossing ships with fully operational power sources and dozens of 4-axis Ghost Kings. On our side, we only have 1 nether crossing ship without a power source, 2 4-axis Demon Beasts, Oyun Sok, and Azure Tiger Saint. It was practically a fight of dozens against 1. And yet, the fact that the Azure Heaven Creation Sect, Shiho, Seo Ran, and others were not instantly captured by Black Ghost Valley meant that they were quite lenient with us. Black Ghost Valley had no intention of being hostile toward us from the start, right? Quote. How could we ever dare to oppose you, Elder? It's no different from an ant declaring war against the king of a nation. Quote. Quote. I am slightly puzzled by Heo Gwak's attitude. Why are you being so formal? Is it because I destroyed the human race territory? It feels a bit strange. Even the Grand Cultivator Association, despite knowing how powerful I am, only saw me at the integration level and was brimming with fighting spirit, but Black Ghost Valley is acting unusually submissive. However, I immediately understood after hearing what he says next. Quote. We've been in contact with the main sect in the Nether Ghost Realm. Ah, that means word has spread about what I did in the Nether Ghost Realm. We are but insignificant creatures unworthy of even gazing at your shadow, Elder. The main sect instructed us that if we ever encounter Elder again, we should assess the situation and follow your command. So, is it because of the incident where I drove away 50 entering Nirvana true persons? It seems that Black Ghost Valley considers me as either the incarnation of a true immortal or perhaps even some sort of immortal treasure. I am about to dismiss the flattery but realizing we lack time, I simply nod. Quote. Well, I understand. Then, for now, just as I'm about to command something to the Black Ghost Valley, I flinch, trembling as I scan the surroundings. Jaeon Myung-hoon also shudders as if sensing something, and both the Black Ghost Valley and Seo Ran, who have learned the Ghost Path method, tremble as well. In the sky, yin energy is surging. The energy of the dragon vein in the surroundings is gradually transforming into ghostly energy. My expression darkens. The place where the energy of the dragon vein is changing and where the yin energy in the sky is gathering. As I trace the origin of these phenomena, I notice that the space beneath the Sky Island area, where Black Ghost Valley was previously located, is fluctuating. If I had delayed evacuating the human race by even a little, it could have been disastrous. I look towards the place where the human race has fled. There are no mortals among the humans in the bright cold realm. As a result, when I wreaked havoc, they were all able to quickly escape their homeland by boarding flying magic artifacts. I once lamented the lack of mortals, thinking it hindered the development of martial arts, but now, in retrospect, it's a blessing. Thanks to that, they could escape so swiftly. However, I can't afford to be satisfied with just that. Quote. I'll speak plainly. The disciple you took in with the ghostly yin transformation immortal root. She is soon about to go berserk. Pardon, you can feel the yin energy, right? Soon, she will burst forth from where your sect was once located. She will emerge from the side path, on the outskirts of the netherworld and descend upon the bright cold realm. Her cultivation realm, even when estimated at the very minimum, will be at the quasi-star-shattering stage. No, I bite my lip, recalling how Jang Ik assessed Kong Minhee in her prime. Other than having no rationality, it will be better to consider her at the actual star-shattering stage. That Heo Gwak seems to think it's impossible. But at that moment, a terrifying ghostly wail echoes from one part of the human race territory. Kuhayak, Ku, everyone who has learned the ghost path method, except for me, coughs up a handful of blood. I stare with a hardened look at the source of the wail. In about 1 or 2 Shichen, Kong Minhee will descend. I am aware of the true purpose of the nether crossing ships. I speak while looking at Heo Gwak. To collect all souls and spirits across the entire heavenly domain when the end arrives. It's designed for spatial transmission, dimensional transfer, and such. It's not meant for attack but for transportation, isn't that right? To know a fact only passed down to disciples of the Black Ghost Valley, how could, no. It's only natural that Elder would know. He readily acknowledges the truth, and I steady myself, looking at the place where Kong Minhee is about to descend. Fly at full speed immediately towards the direction where the human race fled and load the entire human race onto the nether crossing ships. I command them with a stern expression. The human race Grand Alliance, which includes the residents of the bright cold realm, was estimated at roughly 30 billion by Temporal Fate Island. It's possible to squeeze 7 billion of Earth's population into a single state in the United States. The spatial compression on the nether crossing ship is enough to fully contain the heaven-treading desert. Considering that the size of the heaven-treading desert is similar to the continent I know as the Americas, theoretically, the insane population of 30 billion can be accommodated. Heo Gwak nods slightly with a somewhat reluctant expression at my words. However, without doubling the power source, it will be difficult to guarantee speed. Also, even if we use spatial transmission, it's still within another region. As Elder mentioned, if the disciple who lost reason is at the star-shattering stage, they can easily catch up using the ground-shrinking technique. It doesn't matter, we can just do dimensional transfer. Even if we do dimensional transfer, where should we move to? The true Devil Realm hates the human race due to the recent Human-Devil Great War, the Purple Gold Realm is too far, and if we go to the Nether Ghost Realm, the entire human race would perish. The Ancient Force Realm also requires a special kind of attraction force to enter. Not another middle realm, but go to a region in the Chaos Realm. If it's the Chaos Realm, the spatial coordinates are all mixed up, so she won't be able to easily use the ground-shrinking technique to follow. But for that, we would need fixed spatial coordinates within the Chaos Realm region, and there are no fixed spatial coordinates in the Chaos Realm regions to begin with, and also. There are. I cut off Heo Gwak's words and hand him spatial coordinates I know of. This place is. Heo Gwak's face turns pale as he receives the coordinates from me, while Heo Ryong's face flushes red upon seeing them. This. Any objections? When I look down at Heo Ryong, he rubs his side and lowers his head. Quote. We will follow the Elder's command. Good. Now that it's decided, move quickly. Fly towards the direction where the human race has fled and prepare for spatial leap. The people of the Black Ghost Valley gather the members of the Azure Heaven Creation sect and fly in the direction where the human race escaped. The coordinates I gave them are the ones that had been in Jang Ike's Padao. In other words, they are the coordinates of the Har tribe territory. I dispel the floating formation on Thunder Spirit Island, letting it fall downward. Then, I take out Kim Young-hoon from my domain and request both him and Jaeon Myung-hoon. Could you two please take a look around the human race territory to check if there are any people left? Upon hearing my words, Jaeon Myung-hoon and Kim Young-hoon nod and vanish from sight with speed like light and lightning. I confirm those who remain. Seo Ran, who seems to have much to say to the people of Black Ghost Valley, and Shiho. Azure Tiger Saint, who remained after sending off the Azure Heaven Creation sect, as well as Oh Yun Sok. Kim Yeon, who decided to stay to check on Kong Minhee's condition, and Buk Hyung-hwa, who followed her. Hong Fan, who remained following me, is also still present. Meanwhile, Wei Shihun, Hua, Yi and Jin, and the others boarded the Nether crossing ship and followed Black Ghost Valley. I look at them and speak. Thank you for staying. However, what I'm about to do from now on is merely a stalling tactic. In other words, the opponent is currently in such a terrifying state that all I can do is buy time. Therefore, if a critical situation arises, I ask that you follow my orders without hesitation. Everyone nods in agreement. If the situation becomes critical, the plan is to place my comrades within Jaeon Myung-hoon's domain and then have Jaeon Myung-hoon and Kim Young-hoon combine their strengths to reach the Nether crossing ship of Black Ghost Valley, which departed earlier. Kurururung. Flash. As red lightning and golden radiance flickers, Kim Young-hoon and Jaeon Myung-hoon return. Jaeon Myung-hoon shows me the countless humans inside his domain. These are people who were either in seclusion or couldn't evacuate in time due to various circumstances. With Young-hoon Hung Nim's help, we captured them all. Jaeon Myung-hoon, who suddenly started calling Kim Young-hoon, Hung Nim, at some point, shows me the people inside his domain and then points at one person with an irritated expression. Huek. A woman is dragged out of the domain by Jaeon Myung-hoon's attraction force, shrieking as she struggles and screams. Quote. It's Tae Yal Jaeon. Or rather, the woman who had been Tae Yal Jaeon in a previous cycle. In the process, this woman claimed to know you and insisted on staying here, so I ignored her and brought her along. Do you know her? Huek, elder. Do you remember me? Please save me. This person is surely trying to take me to some strange place to turn me into a pill. I don't. And Jaeon Myung-hoon isn't that kind of person, so be quiet. I ignore her and snap my fingers. She is flung back into a corner of Jaeon Myung-hoon's domain. Hong Fan looks at her with an annoyed expression, covering his nose and shaking his head. It's obvious she mistook Jaeon Myung-hoon, who appeared with an intimidating aura and suddenly tried to take her away, for a devilish cultivator collecting ingredients to make human pills. In any case, thanks to her, the tension eases a bit, and we chuckle. After telling Jaeon Myung-hoon to take our comrades to the Nether crossing ship in case of an emergency, I turn to look at the ground where Kong Min-hee is about to descend. Now then, everyone, stay alert, and then, Kugugugugu, with an overwhelming presence, as Kong Min-hee is about to descend. Pot. Suddenly, I find myself in a strange space. A place filled with pure spiritual energy. Chills. Above a high mountain that seems to overlook the entire bright cold realm. Atop there, I have been transported in front of a huge pavilion made of white jade. Come here. A clear voice echoes from within the pavilion. I am Baek Woon. I have called only your consciousness here to have a brief conversation with you. Chapter 417, Face to Face 2. ZZZT, ZZZT. I recognize the presence before me and feel a deep chill in my heart. Literally, the being within the white jade pavilion is no different from a world itself. The more I try to perceive, the more it feels like my consciousness is sinking into a quagmire. A presence that evokes despair before any sense of intimidation. The administrator of the bright cold realm. Sacred Master Baek Woon. Without realizing it, I have fallen to my knees and prostrated myself before Sacred Master Baek Woon. Quote. Seo Eun-yun of the human path pays respects to the Sacred Master. Snap. With the sound of something bouncing, I suddenly find myself inside the white jade pavilion. I have entered a grand hall vast enough to be a castle. This authority, I have seen this kind of unreasonable authority once before, one that can instantly strip away someone's consciousness and place it before them. The true persons. It's the authority of the true persons at the entering nirvana stage. Which means, the being before me must be considered on par with the true persons. Gulp. I swallow nervously. Even if the Sacred Master intends to scatter my soul and spirit right now, I don't think I can resist, well, not to that extent. Regardless, it's clear that this is a being capable of harming me at any moment. Quote. May I ask why the Sacred Master has summoned this one who is still merely a mortal from the human path? In response to my question, Sacred Master Baek Woon's clear voice resonates throughout the pavilion. Raise your head. With a trembling heart, I lift my head. And then I see it. A giant. Kugugugugu. A giant, whose upper body alone seems to be 2 or 3 li long, is sitting on a white jade throne, looking down at me. Sacred Master Baek Woon's skin has parts that are partially exposed, resembling tree bark, and white branches seem to sprout from her head. She is dressed in a pure white robe, and from her eyes, upright energy is flowing. As I continue to gaze up at Sacred Master Baek-woon, I realize that what I am seeing is an illusion. Flinch. I snap back to reality and focus my consciousness, and the giant vanishes from my sight, replaced by a withered tree-like being sitting on a small throne. It looks like a scarecrow made of dried-up wood hastily dressed in a woman's clothes. 7 lightning spears of different colors are embedded in her chest and abdomen, softly sparking with lightning. Golden, red, dark blue, purple, pale pink, dark red, and black lightning sparks whip around, forming chains that restrain her movements and coil around her. Sacred Master Baek-woon tilts her head slightly and speaks. As expected, is your weight class at the star-shattering stage, to have directly pierced through my aura and seen my true form. Quote. As I stare at those lightning spears, I somehow feel that I know who their owner is and I let out a sigh in my mind. My eyes meet those of Sacred Master Baek-woon. Though her body is like a withered tree due to the lightning spears, her eyes are remarkably similar to the clear, bright ones I have seen in the earlier illusion. Perhaps the vision I have seen earlier is her true form in her prime. Do you know why I summoned you? Traveler from the ominous world. Quote. There are too many possibilities, making it impossible to pinpoint exactly what it is. As cold sweat drips from my brow, she chuckles softly. Her laughter, while not as potent as the laughter of esteemed ones at the star-shattering stage that could strike like an integration stage attack just by hearing it, I feel an even greater sense of danger. While the laughter of the esteemed ones felt like they couldn't contain their overflowing power, the laughter of the Sacred Master feels like it has completely controlled that immense power, leaving only pure laughter behind. A danger even more restrained than that of the esteemed ones. That is the Sacred Master. You survived even after meeting that arrogant monarch, did you not? Quote. Arrogant monarch. Though the title is incorrect, I instantly know who she is referring to. It seems she knows that I survived an encounter with the owner of Great Mountain. Quote. Yes, that tyrannical governing immortal wouldn't have retreated without a reason. Do you know what the reason is? Quote. I'm startled by her words. She casually mentioned a governing immortal. Seeing the slight shock on my face, she tilts her head and says, the reason why one should not carelessly perceive or utter the names of true immortals is that doing so creates an attraction force. This force can shock and kill lesser beings. However, someone at my level can strip the power contained in the title and speak it. That way, discussing them isn't all that difficult. Quote. I see. So, your answer to the question is? I swallow. I cannot say. After meeting the heavenly venerable of time and using his power to travel back 190,000 years, I was saved from being killed by the mountain god thanks to the help of the god of light. It's simple to say, but there are too many governing immortals involved in this. Even if I assume Baek-woon could suppress the attraction force generated from my words, it's hard to believe she can control the forces of so many beings at once. Hearing my response, she seems slightly displeased, tapping the armrest of her throne with a hum. I look at Sacred Master Baek-woon and speak. That aside, if you have nothing else to say, may I ask for a favor? What is it? The presence of the star-shattering stage trying to enter the bright cold realm. Please help me subdue her and restore her rationality. She replied. Why should I do that? Pardon, I'm taken aback by her response. And no, she's merely lost her reason, but she's still a being at the star-shattering stage. I cannot stop her. And a Sacred Master, as far as I'm aware, aren't you the one who protects the bright cold realm? You seem to be mistaken. She clicks her tongue and says. Guest from the ominous world. I manage the bright cold realm, but I am not responsible for the safety of the living beings within it. What does that? No, never mind. I try to understand what she means but then remember I don't have time, so I shout. If there is nothing else to be said, please send me back. I will stop her, even if it has to be with my own hands. That I cannot do. I must observe you to confirm whether there is an attraction force from the arrogant monarch. If you are indeed their puppet, letting you go could lead to the world's destruction. I understand what she means. I am the one who directly witnessed the destruction of the world by the owner of Great Mountain. But I can't back down now. I draw upon the power of the phenomena extinguishing mantra, causing spiritual energy like grains of salt to float around me. I have no intention of recklessly using the phenomena extinguishing mantra. This is purely an intimidation tactic. Send me back immediately. I must stop her. If not, I will detonate this. It's a simple bluff. No one understands better than me the tyranny of the owner of Great Mountain, and I resolved not to carelessly use anything related to true immortals anymore. However, Sacred Master Baek Woon doesn't seem to take it as mere bluffing. She flinches slightly before speaking kindly. If it's time you're worried about, don't be. Snap. Wo Wang. I tighten my focus as I feel the surrounding environment start to distort. Her following words only heighten my tension. I have accelerated our consciousnesses by 100-fold. We'll have time to share a brief conversation. Quote. The authority to casually pull someone's consciousness and accelerate it. I have also accelerated Kim Yeon's consciousness within her dream, but that was due to the special nature of her dream. However, Sacred Master Baek Woon has the power to interfere with someone else's consciousness directly in reality. While investigating the attraction force in your soul in this accelerated consciousness, while I can't say it's done in exchange, ask any questions you may have. I'll answer to the best of my knowledge. She intends to investigate me in this accelerated world while addressing any of my questions. I think for a moment and then nod. Very well. Then, first, why does the Sacred Master leave the Mad Lord who is massacring the living beings of the bright cold realm alone, and why does she allow the existence of the ghostly yin transformation immortal root that will devour the land of the bright cold realm? As I said before, I am merely the administrator of the bright cold realm. I am not your protector. What does that mean? She seems to ponder for a moment before speaking. To make you understand, I will need to give a somewhat lengthy explanation. Do you know the purpose of the existence of Sacred Masters? Other than being the administrators of worlds, I do not know much. Why do you think we manage worlds? How would I know that? A cheeky thing. Listen carefully. From Sacred Masters onward, we begin cultivation by sensing the attraction force of fate. Quote. Wasn't the attraction force of fate something only a true immortal can handle? No, that's not right. Now that I think about it, even quasi-immortals used fate to bestow misfortune upon me. Perhaps from the latter stages of the middle boundary, one can begin to handle the attraction force of fate to some extent through the plane of fate. We cultivate by sensing a total of 8 types of attraction forces of fate. And in that process, what's absolutely necessary is a vast world. The best option is a middle realm, the second is a star system, and the last is being captured by a living true immortal and used as an immortal treasure. Quote. You understand why the last one must be a living, true immortal, right? Quote. Are you saying it's possible to manage a dead true immortal? Baek Woon nods. Yes. Someone of your level might have already guessed, but the middle realms within the Sun and Moon heavenly domain, except for one, are entirely composed of the corpses of dead true immortals. Quote. I am somewhat shocked, but since I suspected this for a long time, I only let out a silent sigh of acceptance. Around 500,000 years ago, under the lead of a great being known as the Vast Cold Heavenly Lord, 3 judges of the Netherworld, a Netherworld spy, and a grand Netherworld army, 5 gods in total along with a grand army composed of innumerable reapers and true immortals, descended upon our Sun and Moon heavenly domain. It is said that the Vast Cold Heavenly Lord, after competing with the 4 heavenly venerables and proving their strength, descended here with a certain purpose and waged war. It's fascinating. Perhaps it's because Baek Woon can control the power contained in her words. Despite the dangerous knowledge she is imparting, no matter how much I listen, it doesn't seem like it will cause any immediate problems. After competing with the 4 heavenly venerables, the Vast Cold Heavenly Lord descended to the Sun and Moon heavenly domain and waged war against something with overwhelming power. But it is said that the Vast Cold Heavenly Lord's forces, including the Netherworld army, suffered a crushing defeat. The origin story of the bright cold realm from 500,000 years ago flows from her lips. You know of the vestiges of the interdimensional void, correct? The shed skins of quasi-immortals when they ascend to become true immortals, are their corpses. Even beings of true immortal rank can sometimes create vestiges when they die incorrectly. And, the corpse of the Vast Cold Heavenly Lord, who died a miserable death, was especially prone to creating a vestige. Can you imagine how terrifying the vestige of the Vast Cold Heavenly Lord, who fought on equal terms with the 4 heavenly venerables, would be? Quote. The vestige alone could destroy the entire Sun and Moon heavenly domain. Thus, the true persons of the Sun and Moon heavenly domain at the stage of entering nirvana all gathered and discussed. Someone must take charge of the corpses of those judges and the Vast Cold Heavenly Lord, become a sacred master, and manage them so they don't turn into vestiges. We absolutely need gravekeepers to manage the remains of those beings. Sacred Master Baekwoon sighs as she speaks. And so, the corpse of the vast cold heavenly lord was taken over by the first sacred master of the bright cold realm and the descendant of a judge, lofty dragon true person, who temporarily lowered their realm to enter. In the ancient force realm, it was Heiyu. Hei means Xie in Xiaji, Yu means willow, Xie Lu, the son of the ancient force true lord. In the nether ghost realm, it was Yuo, Yu, the retainer of the nether ghost true lord. In the true devil realm, it was Sei Sei as in imperial seal, Eam as in Yin, Shi Yin, the immortal treasure of the nether devil true lord. In the purple gold realm, a child who had just risen to become a sacred master nearby was captured and became the sacred master, and after some time, lofty dragon true person was killed by that thing, and I lowered my realm to become the sacred master. Do you understand now? She clenches and unclenches her withered hand as she continues. I am not the protector of the living beings of the bright cold realm. If I were still a sacred master in the midst of cultivation, I might have protected the living beings because I would have needed to cultivate through the attraction force of fate. But I am beyond the point of needing to comprehend the meaning of attraction force, or rather, there is no need to do so. My role is not to protect you living beings, but to tether this middle realm mass known as the bright cold realm with the attraction force of fate, preventing the world from splitting and giving birth to terrifying vestige. Quote. So, you won't help us. I've done what I could. I've called Jang Ik, so if you endure for about 500 years, he will arrive. In around 500 years, his avatar will reach here and take care of the Mad Lord and the star-shattering stage ghostly creature. Are you saying you'll just watch as living beings are massacred for 500 years? It's just 500 years. What are you so worried about? Sacred Master Baekwoon props her chin with one hand and points to her abdomen. In any case, I sustained a fatal injury while fighting the left ring finger of Yongsu Jin 120,000 years ago, so I don't have the luxury to waste my power. Summoning Jang Ik is the greatest mercy I could extend for the sake of the living beings. Quote. I sigh inwardly, coming to grips with the overwhelming truths I have just learned. Wu Wang, pot. I suddenly realize that something that I haven't even realized is there which entered my body at some point has been extracted. The investigation is over. For now, I don't see any connected attraction forces. You don't need to worry about the arrogant monarch suddenly descending again. Quote. Then you'll let me go now. Despite our consciousnesses being accelerated, some time has passed while listening to her story. Kong Minhee's descent is imminent. I'll answer one last question before letting you go. Quote. Thank you. In that case, I organize my complicated thoughts and ask a question. Lastly, you said I came from an ominous world. I ask her why some high-ranking beings, starting with Yongsu Jin and including Zhengli, consider the head realm to be ominous. There are many other things I am curious about, but I feel this is the most important. At my words, her expression hardens slightly before she speaks. Do you know how the 6 middle realms are arranged? Quote. I don't know. At my response, Sacred Master Baekwoon taps the armrest with her finger. Tong. From the place she tapped, a ripple spreads out, and soon the surroundings are dyed with an illusion. I find myself standing within a vast darkness. In the darkness, I see 5 sun-like lights and 1 small dark red light. Her voice echoes amidst the darkness. Those lights are the 5 middle realms. The dark red one is the blood yin realm. Look closely. As I made them in forms you can see. As I observe the middle realms as she said, I can see corpses within the masses of light. I can't clearly see their faces, but I can tell that each and every one had died horrific deaths. Either grotesquely twisted, pierced with gaping holes, or in the case of the ancient force realm, their entire body was crushed and turned into a pulp, leaving only a head. The blood yin realm is just a dark red mist, making it impossible to see anything clearly. When she snaps her fingers, tiny lights begin to appear again around us. These are the decaying corpse realms. They are the fragments of beings from the Netherworld army and the followers of Vast Cold who were killed by the something. Observe them carefully. Between the 5 middle realms. I shudder as I look at the small light that appeared in the very center. It's the decaying head of someone with their eyes rolled back into their skull. The head realm. The head realm is at the center of the 5 middle realms. Though it's closest to the bright cold realm, it isn't that close and is only slightly closer than the other middle realms. That is the head realm. The ominous world from which you have come. Yes, it's in the center of the middle realms. That is not what's important. Look again at the direction in which the middle realms died. Pardon. At her words, I look at the corpses within the light masses. The ancient force, which has been turned into pulp with only the head remaining, is looking towards the head realm. The severed head and arms of the purple gold realm, whose body has been cut into 8 pieces, are directed towards the head realm. The head of the twisted corpse from the nether ghost realm, twisted grotesquely even in death, seems to be looking at the head realm, as if reaching out towards it. The true devil realm, with its body horribly mutilated and missing parts, is also looking towards the head realm. And then, the horrifically distorted body of the bright cold realm. The vast cold heavenly lord, too, has died with an outstretched hand, as if reaching out towards the head realm. Only after realizing this do I feel a chilling sense of fear that makes my hair stand on end. Do you see? The head realm, from which you have ascended from, it looks as though the gods who once made their names known throughout the heavenly domain met their tragic end while charging towards the head realm. Quote. For some reason, the words, audience chamber, that Cheonmin Ryan wrote seem to flicker before my eyes. Audience chamber, a place where one greets a great being. Do you now understand why the head realm is considered an ominous place? If so, what kind of entity is the existence of the audience chamber that even the great vast cold heavenly lord and the judges twisted their bodies in such a way to meet? Chapter 418, Face to Face 3. Burururu. At the shape of the head realm and the positions of the worlds surrounding it, I shiver and clear my mind. There's nothing I can figure out right now. I need to stay alert, but I shouldn't keep thinking about it. The more I think about it, the more the attraction force builds up, and if that happens, who knows what kind of entity might peek into my mind. Quote. Thank you for the valuable information. Alright, then be on your way. After Sacred Master Baek-woon fully releases the acceleration on my consciousness, I feel that she has granted me permission to return at any time. I speak to her. May I come back later to resolve some questions? She ponders for a moment before replying. If you want to meet with me alone before reaching the star-shattering stage, at least stabilize those disasters first. She must be talking about the Mad Lord and Kong Min-hee. I nod after considering for a moment. Quote. Understood. I will try my best. Good. Then, let us meet again later. Wu Wang. With those words, my consciousness quickly returns from the heavenly lotus mountain where Sacred Master Baek-woon resides. TSTSTSTSTSTSTSTSs. When I open my eyes, I find myself back in the same situation. Kugugugugu. Yin energy is overflowing, and Kong Min-hee is descending. If Jaeon Myung-hoon and Kim Young-hoon combine their strength, they can reach a speed close to the star-shattering stage. The rest of my comrades are also capable of each handling their own parts. Moreover, considering that Sacred Master Baek-woon has verified my weight class as being on the level of the star-shattering stage, I should be able to at least buy some time against Kong Min-hee who is descending now. Sirring, I draw out the colorless glass sword from the void through my domain and move forward to join my comrades. Kururung. Dark clouds cover the sky, and from their center, space begins to distort as a gray sphere starts to appear. A phenomenon where the outskirts of the netherworld is being forcibly overlaid onto reality. But that isn't the end. Cooing. Is it the sound of a rifle being fired? The sound of a grenade exploding? Or the sound of a mountain being blown away by a spell? A similar explosion echoes from deep within. Cooing. But instinctively, I realize that this isn't just any ordinary explosion, it's a heartbeat. Yes, this is the sound of someone's heartbeat. Cooing. With the third heartbeat, the gray sphere turns black. Ska. Black smoke pours out from the darkened sphere. And the sight makes the hair on my body stand on end. Crazy. What looks like smoke is actually tiny specks of dust. And each of those specks are at least a chi building level ghost. Cooing. The fourth heartbeat echoes. The sphere begins to crack, and I feel something trying to burst out from inside. I speak with a hardened expression. Young-hoon Hung Nim. Jaeon Myung-hoon. Everyone, head to the nether crossing ship now. It seems I underestimated the situation. I assumed that the Kong Min-hee of the star-shattering stage we are about to face is the same Kong Min-hee I had encountered in the previous 18th cycle with Seo Lee. The Kong Min-hee of that time had only just reached the star-shattering stage, and she felt about the same level as I am now. The most overwhelming Kong Min-hee I ever encountered is the one from 1,000 years in the future. The bona fide star-shattering stage Kong Min-hee was so terrifying that Jang-ik had to personally confront the ghost-guiding Holy Mother. Therefore, even though we are not yet 1,000 years into the future, but only about 500 years later, the current situation. It seems I had been under the delusion that I could possibly face Kong Min-hee. What do you mean, Eun-yun? How can we abandon our comrade? We can each pull our own weight. I said go now. I cut off Kim Young-hoon and Jaeon Myung-hoon, shouting fiercely. It's because my weight class has reached the star-shattering stage that I can sense it, while my comrades, still at the integration level, seem unaware. Fortunately, Kim Yeon, whose consciousness has explosively grown to a level beyond the integration stage, seems to grasp the meaning behind my words. She nods with cold sweat trickling down her face and Hong Fan stares blankly into the sphere as if sensing something. Do as he says, everyone. Kim Yeon clutches her head and breathes heavily as she speaks, and since Kim Young-hoon and Jaeon Myung-hoon are not entirely oblivious to the situation, they exchange glances and ask with dark expressions. Will you be alright? As long as you all aren't here, I can muster every means available to hold out. Alright, Jaeon Myung-hoon nods, then he and Kim Young-hoon combine their strength, transforming into a golden lightning bird and flying off towards the nether crossing ship of the Black Ghost Valley. To forget that a reaper of the netherworld intervened, are you retarded, Seo Eun-yun? I curse myself furiously, cooing, crack, at last, a long, slender hand breaks through the sphere. Goo. If my suspicion is right, this cycle's Kong Min-hee will be stronger than any version of her I encountered before. Because she, crack, shatter, you're finally here, due to the intervention of a reaper of the netherworld, at this point in time, 500 years after we arrived in this world, her power already exceeds that of herself 1,000 years in. Whisper. It's as if countless whispers are flickering at my ears. Unintelligible murmurs, resentment, wailing, screams, prayers, cries. The languages of the dead are all spewing out from one place. The monarch of ghosts who leads tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, trillions of ghosts. It is the voice of the ghost-guiding Holy Mother Kong Min-hee. Whisper. Kugugek. Just from her whispers, I can feel an enormous shockwave, understanding that this force is akin to the attack of an integration stage cultivator. It's on par with the laughter of the star-shattering stage esteemed ones in the lightning sacred sea. Fortunately, I have grown stronger since then and I can still stand here now. A black ghost with a 10-jong tall body, tearing at its own head as it utters countless whispers. Her head stretches out for several li, merging with the darkness, and she wears a robe of shadows with blue tears streaming from her eyes. This is the Ghost Mother. I shout at Kong Min-hee, the ghost-guiding Holy Mother. Over here, whoosh. At my words, her gaze locks onto me. Kugugek. Just from her gaze, the ground around me begins to rot from the yin energy, and ghosts start appearing in all directions. But I meet her gaze calmly and give a bitter smile. Sirring. We have a lot of unfinished conversations, don't we? I raise the colorless glass sword and assume a sword stance. Let's share them now. The next moment, Kong Min-hee has already arrived in front of me. Quagwagwagwong. She swings her arm down. In the past, I wouldn't have been able to react and would have been buried deep in the ground by such a blow. But now, I smoothly deflect her hand with my sword and kick off the ground, soaring high into the sky. In an instant, the blue sky draws closer, and I rise high enough for the vast territory of the human race to look small. I can see Heavenly Lotus Mountain. I glance at Sacred Master Baekwoon's Heavenly Lotus Mountain, where I had just been, and then turn my gaze to Kong Min-hee, who has already caught up with me. Rip. She opens her mouth. Her blue teeth, having already turned into those of a monster, are jagged and sharp like a shark. Your teeth are healthy as always, I see. Crunch. I joke as I watch Kong Min-hee bite down on my colorless glass sword. Of course, she doesn't seem inclined to humor me. She pulls me below her using the strength of her neck and then dives straight down from this height, trying to plunge me directly into the ground. Warururuk. Like a meteor entering the atmosphere and bursting into flames, she and I are surrounded by fire. This is going to hurt. Sorry. Bo-wong. In the midst of the scorching heat, I twist the colorless glass sword that is clenched in her mouth. Kagek. With a few sword cries, the direction of the twisted colorless glass sword in her mouth shifts. At the same time, the colorless glass sword that's wedged between her teeth cleanly severs Kong Min-hee's head. Kia. A horrifying ghostly wail seems to echo beyond from the human race territory all the way to the leaf race territory. Gurgle. From the place where her head is severed, black liquid flows, and two new heads sprout from Kong Min-hee's neck. It's an amusing trick, but since I can produce up to 20 heads myself, I take advantage of her confusion instead of being impressed and climb onto her body. Uguk. She squirms as if trying to shake me off, but in her human form, I have her arms completely pinned down, pressing her beneath me and making it difficult for her to escape. Kiok, another upper body sprouts from her back. The new upper body aims a ghostly claw at me, but it's already too late. I summon my true form with 20 heads, and using the 1,000-pound descent Qian Jin Zhui technique, I add the weight of an entire continent to her by enhancing the mass within my domain. Quang, a massive rupture emerges across the entire human race territory, triggering tectonic shifts. I feel a little sorry for the neighboring leaf race, knowing their territory is likely experiencing massive earthquakes and tsunamis. I'm sorry, I don't have the strength to evacuate you all. While initiating an emergency alert, I offer a slight apology to the leaf race and other nearby races who are just now beginning to evacuate. I then raise my sword towards the writhing darkness beneath my feet. From a higher plane to a lower plane. From a higher stance to a lower target. In an instant, in a moment so brief that it surpasses even the speed of the surpassing radiant saber, my deep mountain, emerging Dao single strike lands on the ghost guiding Holy Mother. Bu Wang, the human race territory, spanning about 500,000 li, is once again split in half by my sword energy. Sound itself fails to keep up with the speed, arriving only afterwards. However, I harden my expression, and without hesitation, I withdraw from the ghost guiding Holy Mother after delivering the strike. Ooh, ghosts begin to sing. The tectonic shifts I caused by striking the ghost guiding Holy Mother into the entire human race territory. From the cracks formed by those tectonic shifts, yin energy and ghostly energy begin to rise. Goo. Quote. This dog-like. I mutter a curse under my breath as I realize the true nature of that yin energy. Why is the human race considered one of the two evils among the 6 great races? Turning living creatures into pills is not a vice exclusive to humans. Many other races also keep slave races, and the mindset full of invasion and plunder isn't unique to humanity either. In hypocrisy, the tall tree race and paired wings race surpasses them. In strangeness, the fungal bone race is above. In ugliness, the rotting owl race is superior. In battle prowess, the fighting ghost race outpaces humans. Yet, the human race is among the two evils. Why is that? The truth lies in their quantity. The human race is one of the countless heaven tribe races, seemingly ordinary at first glance. But the human race is a species that could covet others' possessions even when they don't need them. Humans could kill others even when it isn't necessary, desire to be more comfortable than needed, and pursue comfort and ease beyond necessity. The power of their desire surpasses the combat prowess of the fighting ghost race. The ugliness of their desire surpasses the rotting owl race. The strangeness of their desire surpasses the fungal bone race, and the hypocrisy of their desire surpasses that of the tall tree and paired wings races. Countless races were captured, experimented on, and turned into pills within the human race territory. So, where did the souls of those countless races go? Goo. Why did the human race abandon perfectly good land and insist on living arrogantly on the sky islands above it? Wah www. It hurts. Stop it. It has been 500,000 years since the creation of the bright cold realm. After those long 500,000 years, the ugliness of the human race, who slaughtered and devoured countless other races, finally begins to surface. Goo. I stand at the very bottom of the human race's territory. There, beneath the ground, I meet the ghost guiding Holy Mother and see the endless souls pouring out, feeling utterly speechless. When the human race plunders other races, they extract the inner cores and demon cores of those races to use as pills, turn their blood and skin into talismans, and their bones and organs into magic artifacts. Even their souls are absorbed by devilish cultivators, who suck out their spiritual energy, leaving only the remaining scraps to be discarded below the sky islands like food waste. By doing so, no matter how much resentment those souls harbor, they are left powerless and unable to become vengeful ghosts due to their lack of energy. Even if they later try to slowly recover their energy, other souls, constantly falling from above, would turn into hungry ghosts and devour each other's energy in a desperate struggle to regain their strength. Souls so full of resentment that they can't enter the netherworld, and so weakened that they can't even reach the nether ghost realm, continue to struggle and drain each other's energy in endless torment within the earth. The land beneath the sky island is nothing short of humanity's garbage dump. However, due to Kong Minhee, the countless vengeful spirits who had been oppressed and tortured by the human race begin to awaken all at once, regaining their strength through her power. No, to be precise, Kong Minhee is merely a conduit. It feels as though power is being drawn from deep within and supplied to the vengeful spirits. Humans. Kill. Join us. Ithert. We must kill ya the same way to make you feel the same. As the vengeful spirits who were sacrificed by humanity regain their strength, they all simultaneously become beings at least at the chi building level. I look up at Kong Minhee with a shocked expression, seeing how the power she can command has increased in an instant. Goo. Countless vengeful spirits, numbering in the trillions and quadrillions, flow into her, causing her size to grow even larger. Her body, which was originally about 10 zhong, now surpassed 40 zhong, reaching a height of 4 li. I let out a hollow laugh as I look at her now mountain-sized form. Damn humans. Quagwagwong. Her giant hand comes crashing down on the spot where I was standing. I completely abandon the thought of trying to buy time against her. I need to escape. Even in my form as the Ghost King with 20 heads, I am no match for her who is commanding innumerable ghosts. At first, the ghosts hesitated when they saw me, but after Kong Minhee grew to the size of a mountain, they instead set their ghost fire ablaze and are now madly reaching out to me, as if wanting to become one. Sorry, but your mistress and I have a rather uncomfortable relationship. Chuawaik. I dodge the black hands that are closing in on me like a net covering the sky and look at the human race territory, now completely engulfed in darkness and transformed into something resembling the nether ghost realm. Wu Wang. Though it's a bit unseemly, I begin to flee, using the energy of the 3 great ultimates entirely to dodge her grasp. To say my energy is at the star-shattering weight class means that the sheer magnitude of my energy is at the early star-shattering level. However, even with that, I have no chance against her. Having fully embraced the filth of humanity, she is now practically at the mid-star-shattering stage. Flash. I use every means at my disposal, including the gliding technique, flying escape technique, ground shrinking technique, and sword flight to escape. The darkness that covers the human race territory begins to chase after me. Goo. Could even Jang Ik stop that? Cold sweat trickles down my back as I look up at the darkness of the ghost-guiding Holy Mother that is swallowing up the territories of other races. Rumble. Black lightning flashes as dark blue ghost fire pours out from within, sweeping over the white-horned race, one of the neighboring races of the human race. Goo. Countless cultivators of the cultivation world. And the Heaven tribe who has always given birth to the Heart tribe. Although the human race is particularly severe, no other Heaven tribe race is innocent either. They, too, have massacred and invaded other races. And the countless vengeful spirits of those they invaded are once again being sucked into the darkness of the ghost-guiding Holy Mother, gaining power. Kururum. I watch as the aura of the ghost-guiding Holy Mother gradually grows larger amidst the sound of black thunder. Crazy. I feel like I am about to lose my breath. Each time she swallows an entire race, the size of the darkness grows larger. Although it isn't as rapid a change as when she swallowed the vengeful spirits of the human race, it's clear to the naked eye that she is growing stronger with every race and vengeful spirit she devours. There is a reason Kong Minhee managed to swallow 1/50th of the bright cold realm 1,000 years in. And now, Kong Minhee has already gained power surpassing what she would have had at the beginning of her rampage 1,000 years in, after meeting the chief judge. Sacred Master Baek Woon, it seems we'll need to summon Jang Ike's main body, not just his avatar. I look back with a stunned expression. At that very moment, a giant hand from within the darkness reaches across space towards me. Exclamation mark. Before I can even react, due to the spatial manipulation of the star-shattering stage, her hand reaches me, and I am struck rolling across one of the Heaven tribe territories. Kahayak, Hyok, drip, blood flows from my 7 orifices. It heals quickly, but I realize just how immense the difference between the ghost-guiding Holy Mother and me is, to the point where I can hardly even react. However, more than that, I stare at the enormous dark storm that is still approaching from afar. Kong Minhee. Just a moment ago, when her hand struck me, I heard it clearly. Save me. It's a will that only I, who is of all 3 Heaven tribe, Earth tribe, and Heart tribe, can hear. I should have run away as soon as I regained my senses. But I widen my eyes and, with a slightly dazed look, stare in the direction of Kong Minhee. Weo. Once again, Kong Minhee is annihilating one of the Heaven tribe races as she approaches this place. In about 100 seconds, she will likely reach here. Kong Minhee. I call out her name, my parched lips sticking together as I speak. Then, a response comes from beside me. Ho ho, so that's the name of that being, Taoist CEO. Severing Mountain Swordsmanship. 20-second move. Without hesitation, I use Severing Mountain towards the voice I detest hearing. Chapter 419. Broken Ones 1. Wo Wang. The technique that has evolved to the point of being able to raise an entire territory is the current Severing Mountain. Despite the immense power of this terrifying technique exploding at a single point, Seo Weol reappears behind me, flashing that obnoxious smile. What is it now? I ask as I look at him. In the past, I would have been nervous, afraid of falling prey to his tainted soul filling the heavens. But now, it no longer scares me as much as it once did. Seo Weol seems to have realized this too, as I can feel him openly using tainted soul filling the heavens to brainwash me. It won't work anymore. Stop your pointless efforts and state your purpose. Ho ho, this is quite, you used to be such a nice person, but how you've changed, it's truly lamentable. His words make my eyes twitch. This too is just another attempt to test my resolve. But he isn't wrong. My heart is just a pile of ashes, my soul the charred remains. Why am I no longer afraid of Seo Weol's tainted soul filling the heavens? Is it because I obtained the purple soul filling the heavens? Because I have the phenomena extinguishing mantra? Or because I gained the possibility of the second step before the throne? All those things are merely external factors. The truth is simple. Now, I too have become a broken human being, one that would never fall behind the likes of the Mad Lord and Seo Weol. Shut up and just tell me why you're here, you blind leech. Bo Wang. I swing my hand, slicing through the Seo Weol before me. But even though he's cut down in one strike, his form seems to scatter in the air before reappearing elsewhere. A projection? No, it feels too real to be just a projection. The place where Seo Weol has fallen still holds his corpse. However, I suddenly realize that something is off about the state of the body and understand the principle behind how he is appearing around me like a ghost. The corpse is only anchored in the plane of Qi. Everything in this world exists across the three planes of Qi, soul, and fate. Even inanimate objects are no exception. The soil has its own spirit, mountains have their souls, and even stars have their essence. Even lifeless objects exist in the plane of soul, and as seen through the star-vein eye, all things are also anchored in the plane of fate. However, I see in front of me the corpse of Seo Weol composed solely of the flow of yin and yang in the plane of Qi. Oh hi Seo, I see. Did she lend you her abilities to send this projection using her power? It's undoubtedly Oh hi Seo's power. Seo Weol smiles faintly and says. As expected of Taoist Seo. That's right, she helped me. If you were going to come, you should have brought Oh hi Seo along. With her personality, she wouldn't have missed the chance to witness something as entertaining as this. Recalling the first time I was betrayed by Oh hi Seo, she appears to be someone who chases after stimulation and excitement. Given that, in a situation like this where the territory of the Heaven tribe is being destroyed by Kong Minhee, it wouldn't be surprising for her to come just to watch. Yet, I can't sense her presence. Anywhere within hundreds of thousands of li. Ho ho, it seems that after our last encounter, she's learned a bit about what fear is. Quote. Indeed, at this point, Oh hi Seo witnessed the terrifying existence known as the Chief Judge. Even someone whose emotions are as unreadable as her must have found it difficult to bear the sight of such a transcendent being's power. Thanks to that, she's become quite dependent on me lately. We've become quite essential to each other. At Seo Weol's words, I recall the events 1,000 years in. She was called his madam. It seems she married Seo Weol after all. Back then, I thought she was brainwashed, but it appears that somehow fate has always intended for the two to be bound together. So, what do you want? But such things are none of my concern. I growl, glaring at Seo Weol. Wriggle, wriggle. As my emotions flare up, something begins to writhe violently, as if trying to escape from the depths of my shadow. My heart demons seem to be manifesting through a curse, trying to flee from me. Ho ho, originally, she and I were merely in a relationship of mutual exploitation. We were constantly experimenting on each other, always ready to betray one another. But after my sight was sealed and her mind was scarred, we became necessary existences to each other and had to form an alliance. Do you understand, Taoist Seo? His words make my eyes twitch. Those who have lost their blessings can band together to fill each other's voids. You, as much as me and Old Man Joe, have a broken heart, we can form an alliance that compensates for each other's deficiencies. I laugh as I look at Seo Weol. That almost sounds like you're admitting you have a heart. Haha, you didn't really think I have no heart at all, right? I read the will hidden behind Seo Wayol's words. A heart is something that can be either present or absent, depending on necessity. It seems he is pretending to acknowledge his heart because he needs to persuade me now. In the past, I would have noticed this and simply dismissed it. Seo Wayol is a monster without a heart, after all. But now, at the level I've reached, I can see something different. After tens of thousands of years and having been broken down by unbearable pain, I understand something. Seo Wayol, just perhaps, might be someone who desperately needs to deny the existence of a heart. A heart is undoubtedly something sacred and beautiful, but, at the same time, it can also bring about hellish torment. If he is as broken as I am, perhaps the reason he denies his heart is because he wants to escape this pain more than anyone else. As I perceive this essence of Seo Wayol, I smile bitterly. I understand, so go ahead and wag your tongue, pitiful Seo Wayol. I'll listen for just a moment. I speak in a tone laced with pity, sympathizing with him. And whatever part of Seo Wayol this sympathy touched. He stops smirking and opens his eyes. His eyes are so dull and unfocused that it's impossible to tell what he is looking at. Though his emotionless gaze is eerie, I realize that, sympathizing with him, has hit him harder than any provocation I'd ever made. He stops smiling and seems to look in my direction for a moment. As expected, you're a higher being, Taoist Seo, how far have you seen through? I've seen enough to understand that you're a somewhat pitiable being. That will make our conversation easier. Seo Wayol turns his emotionless face towards Kong Minhee, who is flying towards us. At first, I thought it would be better to let that being run rampant and leave it be. But after witnessing its unexpected power, I've changed my mind. While some chaos is necessary for my goal, I don't need complete destruction. So, how about joining forces with me to expel it outside the bright cold realm? I ponder Seo Wayol's proposal. Normally, I would have dismissed any suggestion from Seo Wayol without a second thought, but this time is different. If we expel Kong Minhee to the interdimensional void or the astral realm, there will be far fewer casualties. In truth, the heavenly domain is primarily composed of the astral realm. The middle realms are only considered as such because, as the sacred master said, they are the corpses of great beings, and they possess attraction force that influences the entire astral realm. The vastness of the middle realms can never be compared to the breadth of the astral realm, which is an endlessly expanding universe. The reason I was able to collect the shards of the colorless glass sword in the previous cycle was because it was a time shortly after the creation of the world. If it had been tens of thousands of years later, I would never have been able to find the colorless glass sword. In that sense, if we send Kong Minhee into that infinitely vast astral realm or the interdimensional void with only vestiges, the casualties will be minimized. At the very least, sending her outside the bright cold realm will buy me time until I can challenge the star-shattering stage. It's a good idea, but, as Kong Minhee gradually approaches, I ask while fleeing. Seo Wayol, perhaps having merged with the dragon veins itself with the help of Ohai Seo, continues to project his form from the ground where the dragon veins are, maintaining conversation. How do you realistically expect to expel Kong Minhee, who is at the star-shattering stage, from the bright cold realm? I will pull together with my wife in the astral realm. Taoist Seo will push from this side. Is Ohai Seo currently in the astral realm? I ask with a serious expression. She won't just quietly be expelled into the astral realm. You must have a plan, right? Yes, well, it wasn't what I desired, but a being capable of holding that being down when it struggles has somehow come into existence. No way. I look at Seo Wayol and let out a hollow laugh. I think I know what you're thinking. Yes, it's exactly that. You want to join forces with the Mad Lord Zhou Yian. I ask in disbelief. Indeed, at this point, the Mad Lord has two puppets beyond the integration level. She and the wonderfully mysterious fortress are exactly that. And through the connection between her and the wonderfully mysterious fortress, the Mad Lord can currently exert power at the quasi-star-shattering level. Moreover, 1,000 years in, both she and the wonderfully mysterious fortress would individually rise to the quasi-star-shattering level, meaning the Mad Lord would have two puppets at the quasi-star-shattering stage by then. In terms of raw power, if I, Seo Wayol, and the Mad Lord join forces, expelling Kong Minhee from the bright cold realm wouldn't be an empty boast. But the Mad Lord is not sane. How could anyone persuade such a person? Seo Wayol continues speaking. First, Taoist Seo, You know the name and ability of the secret art I use, don't you? Quote. Yes. My tainted soul filling the heavens cannot brainwash you or the Mad Lord. Both of you are madmen, so even if I infuse my configurations, it won't take root because your consciousnesses don't follow a normal flow. Quote. However, the inability to brainwash doesn't mean that my tainted soul filling the heavens cannot enter. What are you trying to say? Taoist CEO, you are a member of the Heart Tribe, correct? And your comrade is a disciple who has learned the Mad Lord's consciousness method. If you, I, my wife, and your comrade join forces, we can temporarily return the Mad Lord's consciousness to normal. If I, Kim Yeon, Oh Hai Seo, and Seo Wei-ol combine our strengths, we can temporarily restore the Mad Lord's consciousness to normal, huh? It sounds suspicious. There's no guarantee that you won't brainwash the Mad Lord while his consciousness is temporarily restored, is there? Ho ho, you don't need to worry about that. I won't brainwash the Mad Lord. I can't do it anyway. I feel slightly reassured as I read the hidden meaning behind Seo Wei-ol's words. The Mad Lord's madness will likely recur thanks to the wonderfully mysterious fortress, even if it is temporarily reversed, so brainwashing him would be pointless for Seo Wei-ol. But then again, who knows? Seo Wei-ol is someone who might always be hiding something. How can I trust you? It's something I figured by analyzing the curse placed on me with my wife. The curse that the great being cast on my eyes extends its duration in real time according to my evil deeds. Initially, it was a mere 1,000 years, but now, it has increased to roughly 2 billion years. Quote. And I realize there's only one way to break this curse. The curse isn't on my main body but on my mask. In other words, if I erase all personalities other than my main body and start anew, I can break the curse. You're telling me this because it's related to that curse. That's right, Taoist CEO. Because of this curse, it's impossible for me to find my main body. The curse placed by that great being doesn't merely block my sight, it prevents me from ever finding my main body. I instinctively know that Seo Wei-ol is telling the truth. It isn't just because his actions and heart essence align. It's because he has never lied about matters related to his essence. As he continues speaking, my eyes glint. Therefore, I propose this, Taoist CEO. After we expel that being from the bright cold realm, help me find my main body. This is a chance to find Seo Wei-ol's main body. He returns his expressionless face to its usual self and gives a faint smile. Until we find my main body, I promise I will never betray you, Taoist CEO. Chapter 420. Broken Ones 2. Kugugugugu. Kong Minhee is chasing from behind, while a snake is flickering its tongue beside me, making a suspicious proposal. I look at Seo Wei-ol. I know this bastard well. No matter what the situation, a liar who only utters empty words. That is the nature of the person known as Seo Wei-ol. But I simply can't refuse information about Seo Wei-ol's main body, and the grace period I can gain by sending Kong Minhee outside the bright cold realm. These are things that can't be ignored. They are too valuable to dismiss as mere scams. So that's why. The reason the Mad Lord always attacked Seo Wei-ol whenever he opened his mouth might be because even that Mad Lord could be swayed by Seo Wei-ol's intentions if he listens to Seo Wei-ol's proposals. I let out a groan, glaring at him. But since he is blind, there is no sort of battle of wills between us. After a moment of hesitation, I nod. Fine, I'll accept it for now. Thank you, Taoist. But there are conditions. I glare at Seo Wei-ol as I speak. According to your words, we need to work together to snap the Mad Lord back to his senses, right? During that process, you will stay out of my sight and act only remotely. If that bastard were to meet my comrades and brainwash them with his filthy tainted soul filling the heavens, I would be extremely furious. What if my comrades turn into copies of Seo Wei-ol? Grit. Just imagining it makes my teeth grind. I can't afford to lose any more comrades carelessly. If such a thing happens, I might lose control of my anger and lose my reason, leading me to do something even I can't predict. Maybe I might even lose my mind and start chanting the phenomena extinguishing mantra until the owner of Great Mountain descends. Seo Wei-ol smiles faintly and nods at my words. If it's necessary, I will comply. Don't worry. Until I find my main body, I have no choice but to rely on my madam and Taoist Seo. Quote. The fact that there are only two options from the beginning means that there's no trust between us. A highly suspicious and dubious alliance. But in the current situation, it's necessary. Fine. In that case, I will form a temporary alliance with you. Ho ho, thank you for your kindness, Taoist CEO. He smiles widely and bows as if he is genuinely pleased. Quote. In any case. I frown as I watch Kong Minhee, who is relentlessly chasing us. It seems we'll need to deal with the ghost guiding Holy Mother first before we can reach the Mad Lord. Any ideas? To expel Kong Minhee from the realm, we need the Mad Lord's help. But to meet and persuade the Mad Lord, I, Seo Weo, Kim Yeon, and Oh Hai Seo will first have to separate from Kong Minhee before combining our strengths. However, Kong Minhee is chasing me like crazy. If this continues, we won't even be able to start the alliance, let alone anything else. It's highly likely that she senses the death aura emanating from my body and my quasi-star-shattering level power, and is trying to capture me to turn me into a ghost king. Especially for a powerful ghostly being like her, my death aura would be extremely conspicuous. Unless I escape from the star-shattering stage site in one go, she will endlessly chase after me. Since things have come to this, I decide to test Seo Weol's cunning and ask him for a strategy. He seems to smile faintly and then says, "There is a plan that will buy you enough time to meet up with your comrades. Would you like to hear it? Speak quickly. Head to Heaven Earth Palace." Quote. You bastard. Understanding why he's implying, I glare at him. He continues with a faint smile. Go to Heaven Earth Palace and lure that thing to the flying immortal platform, in other words, drop it under the void spirit pond. Since it seems to lack intelligence, it won't be too difficult. The vestiges of the interdimensional void react more strongly to beings with great auras, so at least 1 or 2 star-shattering level vestiges will pounce on that thing. Of course, the void spirit pond is an open door, a gaping hole, so it will quickly escape again, but the vestiges of the interdimensional void will buy you some time. Quote. Are you suggesting that I send everyone in Heaven Earth Palace into the belly of the ghost guiding Holy Mother? Seo Weol makes a contemplative expression before asking back. Isn't that rather a good thing? I understand you don't have a good relationship with the Heaven Earth Palace Lord Hun Won. Quote. Instead of getting swayed by Seo Weol's words, I shoot him a sharp glance. Stop wagging your sly tongue and help me out. With your skills and ambition, it's hard to believe you haven't already placed tainted soul filling the heavens on the living beings residing in the Heaven-Earth Central region. Use your ability to evacuate everyone there right now. Ho ho. Seo Weol chuckles at my words, raising one finger as he speaks. As expected, I can't outmatch Taoist Seo. But evacuating everyone is impossible. What nonsense is that now? Heaven Earth Palace Lord Hun Won. That person has something dangerous lurking within his consciousness, so I only let tainted soul filling the heavens flow into him but did not brainwash him. Hence, Taoist will need to convince him yourself. Quote. I recall Hun Won, the name buried within Hun Won, Qian Ra. Damn it, a sense of dread is already creeping in. I don't know exactly what that name means, but given my situation, even a child can understand that it's related to the owner of Great Mountain. It's possible that perhaps the immortal treasure of the mountain god is called Qian Ra. I hope to shove such a dangerous task to Seo Weol, but it seems I will have to face it myself. Quote. Fine. Cursing inwardly, I fly towards Heaven Earth Palace with Seo Weol. Hun Won makes me uneasy. From the character Jian supervision in his eye, to the great mountain splitting emperor technique he has learned. Perhaps through him, the owner of Great Mountain is able to monitor me in real time. But that's all the more reason I need to know more about him. To find out about Hun Won's current state, and to tie down Kong Minhee according to Seo Weol's plan, I head towards Heaven Earth Palace. Goo. After flying for about half a day, the Heaven Earth Central region comes into view in the distance. It's noticeably faster now. In the past, it would have taken several days at the speed of a grand cultivator to travel from the human race territory to the Heaven Earth Central region. But now that I have reached the quasi-star-shattering level, combining the ground shrinking technique, flying escape technique, gliding technique, and sword flight, I reach the Heaven Earth Central region from the human race territory in just half a day. Of course, the same goes for Kong Minhee. Kong Minhee has been chasing me in a straight line, absorbing all the vengeful spirits from every race along the path, empowering herself, and making them her subordinates. Though she hasn't yet absorbed as many vengeful spirits as she did when she was in the human race territory, Kong Minhee continued to steadily grow in size. Goo. Is it just her size? Her speed is also increasing, albeit gradually. Glancing back at the dark storm chasing after me, I hurry even faster towards Heaven-Earth Palace. As a result of pushing myself like mad for half a day, aiming to reach Heaven-Earth Palace even a bit faster than Kong Min-hee, I managed to arrive at Heaven-Earth Palace slightly ahead of her. Now, in about 15 minutes, Kong Min-hee will arrive. The confrontation with Hun Won has to be finished within this time. Swoosh. Perhaps because Seo Weil's tainted soul filling the heavens made everyone evacuate, Heaven-Earth Palace is quiet. However, at the center of Heaven-Earth Palace, I frown, feeling a powerful presence. Despite Seo Weil's tainted soul filling the heavens persuading him, Hun Won remained in place. Bo-ong, Jiong. At my gesture, a vast sword energy surges forth, tearing through the palace walls and rushing towards the area where Hun Won resides. Ku-gu-gu-gu-gu. As Heaven-Earth Palace crumbles, I look down at the place where Hun Won's cultivation chamber is located. He is dressed the same as when I last met him. The same purple dragon robe, with hair sticking out messily from beneath his mangjin, and his disheveled topknot, a worn and haggard appearance. But there is one difference from before. Sook. He looks up at me. Clicking my tongue, I gaze down at him. How did you end up in such a state, Heaven-Earth Palace Lord? Hun Won's eyes have lost their former brightness. The once brightly shining Jian supervision has completely lost its light, leaving only darkness. It likely has something to do with the owner of Great Mountain being captured by the light. It seems as though he lost his sight entirely, as his eyes fail to focus on me. However, even if beings at the integration stage lose their sight, they have a consciousness domain. While he appears to be looking at me with vacant eyes, he is aware of my presence. I don't know. My eyes suddenly lost their light not long ago. I don't know why. Haven't your subordinates told you? A terrifying ghostly entity will soon arrive at Heaven-Earth Palace. However, Hun Won chuckles and says, "What do you want me to do? If it's stronger than me, I'll die. If I'm stronger, then I'll capture it. They are someone you absolutely cannot capture. Quickly retreat." I don't want to. He sneers with gloomy eyes. In any case, the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect that you and that Jin Myung-hoon Won failed to properly protect. Ever since that sect vanished from the human race territory, to be honest, I haven't felt any reason to continue living. Yes, I've lived long enough. The Grand Cultivators at the Grand Perfection integration stage know this secretly. That in 10,000 years, this world will meet its end. There's no reason to keep living anyway, and since everything will end in 10,000 years, what's the point of living longer? He turns his head and says, "I will sit here and recuperate, in case a miracle happens and the disciples of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect manage to ascend. If all you came to say is to retreat, then get lost. I have no desire to face you." I look down at him for a moment. And then, I descend in front of Hun Won. Listening to you is unbearable. I growl as I grab Hun Won by the collar. Saying the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect was annihilated, saying that it's because of me and Jaeon Myung-hoon, saying you feel there's no reason to live, you really know how to say the most irritating things. Will you not let go? We only have 15 minutes, but that should be enough. For the next 15 minutes, I will fix that completely rotten mentality of yours. Once you feel pain close to death, perhaps your will to survive will awaken. Poohoo, a brat not even 10,000 years old. Do you even know what the pain of loss truly is? He sneers as he looks down at me. Born with good talent due to luck in reaching the integration stage within 500 years, it seems you're under a delusion. Do you think you're the protagonist of the world? Do you think you understand all the misfortunes of misfortunes and all the pains of pains in the world and dare to lecture me? Don't delude yourself. You're nothing more than a brat who hasn't even lived a tenth of what I've lived. The pain you've gone through isn't even worth a fingernail compared to what I've experienced. Kugak, kugugugugak. Gradually, Hun Won's weight begins to increase. The momentum of the one I am holding begins to rise. Let go of me and get lost. Whether I live or die is my own concern. You should have lost your tongue, not your eyes. I glare at Hun Won with a piercing gaze and let go of his collar. I've slightly changed my mind. You will truly experience a pain so severe that even death will seem merciful. You brat, thinking my power from back then when my body was in poor condition is my true power. Hun Won draws forth the Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique and reaches out to me. The next moment, I literally shatter his Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique and grab his face, slamming him down. The entire Heaven-Earth Palace turns into rubble in a single blow.